This is 9 to Noon with John Kuhn.
You know, I hope they don't have to go to John Kuhn either at quarterback, but I'd sure like to see what he's capable of doing.
Bill Schmidt.
I think it's going to be extremely fun.
And Armin Saryan.
Oh, man, I don't know. I hope I can live up to the hype.
Nooners. Hit the guys up on the Pella WI Talk and Text line at 414-799-1973.
Unbelievably fantastic, man. I love to listen to your show.
9 to Noon is brought to you by Palermo's. When you want pizza, you want Palermo's. Made right here in Wisconsin for over 55 years. Palermo's, Wisconsin's hometown pizza. Welcome to 9 to Noon.
Let's get the club going up on a Tuesday. What is going on? It's 9 to Noon on the game. I'm Billy Schmidt, flanked by Armin Saryan in the iHeart Megaplex for only a couple of more days before we send this adorable Armenian off to...
We're going to Riviera Maya, Mexico on Sunburn Bowl 5.
That's it. Yep.
See you guys later.
That's
Sorry.
it.
Yeah, I'll
That's
see
it. Sorry about it. I'm going to be going having a nice sun splash time. John Kuhn, we're just here sitting right here. Yeah, he's like, sorry, not sorry. I'm getting ready to, he's talking to me before the show after we got off our call. He's like, yeah, I packed my swimsuits. I had a conversation last night with Josh. I was planning out what we're going to wear throughout. I'm like, oh, sweet. Okay, sounds good. Seems like,
Well, that's more of a Josh conversation, but yes.
Seems like it is going to be a rockin' time for you guys down there.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And I'll
Beers
tell you
in
guys
Mexico.
all about it. You know?
Oh, God. We cannot wait.
We cannot wait.
I hope you have fun.
You can't wait to get gone.
Get out of here. Go. Is
Hey,
that what you heard? Is that what you heard? Oh,
Yeah,
dang.
that's what
Is
I
that
heard.
what you heard?
I'm
Dang.
Don't get Armin.
I'm hoping it wasn't
Come
that
on.
obvious.
I'm gonna miss you guys. You know that. I'm gonna miss you guys. I'm gonna be
Oh,
definitely.
we know
listening.
that.
I'm listening to the show definitely while I'm down there at the. First of all, I gotta get my.
You're not going to
duties
have
I say
any
please
time to
don't?
listen
Yeah.
to the show
done. I know.
because when that show's done down there, you're going to have to plug everything up,
Yeah,
What?
shut everything down,
What?
put stuff in briefcases,
What?
wheel it to bedrooms,
What?
lock those bedrooms,
What?
probably do some damage control with something else,
Yeah.
and then Zabe's going to be calling you, Armin, come take this picture, come take that picture,
Armin, go film this.
Armin,
Film
we're doing belly flops. You're first. Thanks.
Armin, I told you this is gonna be your job this week. You gotta get some. Did you take any pictures?
Incoming
No
call.
pictures.
Incoming call. Josh Albrecht. Armin, are you at the pool? We're at the pool. Come on. Come to the pool. We got Zabe Olympics starting. We got the canoe races starting. Come to the pool. All right, Josh, I'm putting this stuff away. Just a second. I haven't eaten breakfast yet. Just come to the pool. Just don't even worry about it. Bye. Okay, sounds good. All right, I'll be there. Incoming call. Josh Albrecht. Armin, we're playing tennis at 3:00. All right. We're gonna take these pictures. Wear this black shirt. Okay, got it. Sounds good.
Oh wait, is that another? Your phone's buzzing.
Oh,
again.
my phone's. What is it?
What the heck?
Who is it? Mike Heller. Hey, Armin, do you know where this event is supposed to be? I don't know, Mike, but I'll see you there. I'm excited Mike will be on there. Yeah.
That is good. I am.
Here we go. Here we
happy
go. No,
Mike's in there.
here's the last one. Armin, your phone's vibrating. Armin, your phone's vibrating.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Hi. Who is it?
Tim
Oh,
Scott.
it's Tim.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Tim. Armin.
Oh,
Hey,
no.
I got a problem. We don't have people to run the board at home, so we're not going out over the air. I need you to fly home real quick and go run the board so that people can hear the radio shows.
No problem, Tim. Now I can only get like a first class private jet.
Here it
I
says
don't care. Book it. We'll work petty
$3,800.
cash out. Okay, wait, that's a
Sorry.
little bit too much.
Yeah, hold on.
Do you think you could get in a boat? How long would a boat take to get you?
It says only 14 days.
Well, let me think about
Oh,
it.
well,
Could you get from Mexico
should we
to
do that? Do
Milwaukee?
you think?
Well, hold
That
on.
might work. That
If I
might,
fly-
that might make sense.
If I fly to Louisiana and then take a boat up the Mississippi River.
Yeah. Maybe we'll call Getter. That might
Okay,
help.
so we'd only miss
Yeah.
one day. We'd miss Monday through
Yeah.
Thursday and on Friday. Okay,
We're out
good.
on Friday.
Good. Yeah, okay.
Football Friday. Well, not a football Friday, but it's a Friday that's important.
I will miss you guys though. You don't believe that? I will miss doing this.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, I don't believe that for 1 second. I do believe.
emphasize that I'm not
I'd
doing
like
this
to
show.
believe it. But
Yeah, I do believe though that you will miss certain aspects of home more than anything. You will be envious listening to these boys on the Steve Zabin show next week for Sunburn Bowl 5, and just think about it and soak this in for the next week and a half of how much fun they're all having, and then go and book your trip next year. So then you are not missing out next year on all the fun and frivolity. I believe they call it spring break for adults, which
Yeah, absolutely. It's
I've seen spring break trips, John, where adults treat it like they're the college kids on spring break. So I can only imagine that it is a rockin' time. Fired up for you guys to be there. Now,
Thank you.
If I do my math correctly, this will mark now I will officially be the one on-air host
That hasn't gone.
that has not gone on Sunburn Bowl. How long do we think we can keep my streak going?
Oh, I think we can, but there's one other guy. Brian Butch hasn't gone.
Oh, that's right.
Brian
Butchie
Butch.
stayed off. That's
So-
a good point. Butchie has stayed off.
But you guys,
Yep.
at the Final Four trip, come on.
I'll
let's
be honest with you.
let's
I
be
thought
fair.
Butchie was going.
When did Hunter go?
Well, he hasn't, but he hasn't also been
Okay,
here.
so there's 3.
Okay, guys that have been here the whole time.
Hunter's
Okay.
going on his own little paradise vacation next week as well.
He's off too.
Listen,
Yeah, he's off.
once the football season ends, they
Everyone's out of
joked about bowl practices during the summer, right? It is as much of a we got to play some guys off the bench, right? We need to find some of our 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th guys on the bench. Get yourself on in there and go play some minutes, right?
So Brian Noah will be in the studios next.
He might get 48 minutes.
He's going to have to cash some checks.
He's been
He's going to
waiting.
have
People,
to. People have
been
receipts
waiting.
on him, and he is going to have to cash
Wanting that one.
checks and make some amends to the things that he said going into this football season.
I've been kind of I was texting him a little bit over the weekend because I was trying to get a feel what he was looking at for prop bets and stuff like that because he's into that. And I listened to his show on FSR with Crack. Crack. Bill
Krakenberg.
Krackenberger, is that what it is?
Something like that. Krakenberger,
Whatever.
something like
I call him Crack, right?
Crack.
And
Yeah.
but they.
I was
no,
like,
'cause-
whoa, okay, dude, this is a 50,000 watt radio station, and
Okay,
you're
I
throwing
said it
that
wrong.
allegation
I said
at
it
me?
wrong. I said it
I
wrong.
mean,
Trust me,
like
I
the
might,
great
but come
Lawrence
on.
Taylor said, just say no to crack, Billy. Just say no.
I said I didn't mean it like that.
Just can't.
No, he's a big time betting guy, and he does a lot of shows and stuff. And they do a show on FSR with no. So I was texting him a little bit. I said, and I wanted to know when he was going to be on because people have been waiting for him to come back on the station. I think.
Okay,
knows
so
that.
get to what did Brian No say? I can't.
I didn't know
only
where
listen
we
to the
were
setup
at.
of
Yeah, I
the
didn't know
show.
where
What
we
did
were
he
at.
say?
Well, nothing really. He just said, "Ha like that." But yeah, he didn't.
Give
You
yourself
did
a round
this
of
whole
applause
thing.
right there.
Oh my god!
yourself
You
a round
did
of
that whole
applause.
thing to say nothing.
That was impressive.
All right, yeah.
That was impressive.
Oh my
Wow.
god!
I guess my whole point was to let you know I texted with him this weekend. So I guess that I don't know why I felt the need to tell you that.
Well, you know what
story-
you did, and I'm glad you did. I'm glad you
You
did.
guys like this
Our
little
lives
thing?
are much better now that we know that Armin did text with Brian No last
Imagine
week.
if I didn't interrupt him and he just kept going. Who knows where we'd be on right now? He'd be talking about puppy dogs that he saw in a shelter somewhere in Racine. I don't know.
John, he'd have been playing the music in 7.5 minutes, and we're like, "Whoa, wait, what happened to the first segment? What happened to the start? What happened to the start of overtime last night?" Still got Kyle Shanahan getting absolutely dragged through the mud. We're going to talk some Bucks with Trey Crosby. I was at the game last night. That's coming up at 10 o'clock. And, Deer looked a little bit better, looked a little bit different, looked a little bit good. I am not surprised, John, by the amount of backlash that is coming towards Kyle Shanahan. What I am really surprised about, we touched on it a little bit yesterday, right as we got off the air yesterday, Packers inside linebacker and man that was at the Super Bowl, Devondre Campbell, tweeted out and enjoyed a good roast of the San Francisco 49ers on X. They really got on national TV and said they didn't know the rules in the biggest game of your life. LOL. If they really did not understand, talk about this overtime situation, which has Kyle Shanahan, I didn't think without, blowing a 17-point lead a la Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions in the second half, I didn't think, John, there would be a way that Shanahan seemed to one-up himself on people second-guessing his late-game management after this Super Bowl. But somehow he has, because the overtime rules that you and I liked that actually brought us back onto the Mike Heller show yesterday to defend our stances upon has Kyle Shanahan an absolute blender on national television right now.
Yeah, and there is no excuse to not knowing, but there is reason to believe why guys would be confused, because NFL overtime rules have changed a significant number of times in the last 10 years. A lot of these guys that were up there talking, they played 3 or 4 different sets of overtime rules in the NFL alone.
Mm-hmm.
And the timing is different, and the sudden death implications are different. And all of a sudden you play the first game under a new set of rules you can understand. Remember, Cam Newton came to the stage one time and said, I didn't know we could tie at the end of overtime. They got to the end of overtime. And he didn't know they could tie.
Yeah,
and we had been playing by that rule for years. This one had never been played. So I understand the confusion. And still, like, if you asked me to break down when overtime changed, what it changed to, and how exactly the rules were, I don't know if anybody could ever, I couldn't, to be blunt honest here, I could not have told you exactly what they were. I knew that both teams were going to get the ball. I knew that both teams were going to have a chance to score a touchdown, even if the first team scored a touchdown. I knew both teams would have an opportunity to go for two if they wanted to go for two. And I knew that after the second possession, if the game was still tied, it was then sudden death. And I was cool with that. I was like, okay, so the thing everybody hated about overtime initially was the fact that they felt it was decided by a coin flip. First team wins on a field goal because they win a coin flip. Okay, well, now a field goal won't win the game, but a touchdown will win the game. Okay, well, we went down, scored. Now you score. We should have a third opportunity here. Well, it's not even. It's not the same.
Right.
So now you have, it is not decided by a coin flip. It's decided by a coin flip and a choice. And even if Kyle Shanahan had taken the ball and scored a touchdown, the Chiefs would have had a choice to go for the win to win the game second. The second team can never just lose off the first drive. So I like the way the overtime rules are, but you really have to talk these things into existence if you are truly to understand it. And that's aside from all the side rules. We're going to start with 3 timeouts. We're going to have 4 new quarters, even though we're not going to take a halftime. We're going to have a 2-minute warning before the end of another quarter. That's just going to be a TV timeout that you're going to come out for a third quarter. All these things that have not been played out ever before in front of an audience by football players was taking place for the first time on Sunday.
In front of the largest television audience in North American history, right? Like 123 million people watching that game, seeing that play on out. And Armin,
they broke the record last apparently too.
It's crazy that maybe it's a little out of sight, out of mind. And I think it's defensible if us on the couch, maybe drinking beer, watching the game, can say like, wait, okay, that's how that works. Oh, okay. I kind of almost forgot about that because it's been out of sight, out of mind. They changed this after the 2021 Super Bowl or the 2021 playoffs. And I had to go back and look at it, John, because I initially thought that they changed the rule from you can win with 3 points after the 2009 playoffs with the New Orleans Saints beating the Vikings. It was actually changed like 2 years later. So it needed even more time to maturate and soak on in. Armin, I was surprised when it ended up firing on up. However, I didn't expect people griping about the clock, saying, oh, well, there's no sense of urgency. We need to speed this up. That was Tiki Barber's deal. Guess what? These guys have been playing for 68 minutes. If they want to take the entire 40 seconds off the play clock, none of us were upset by that. None of us, at least maybe I'm speaking out of turn here. I didn't feel like that was an issue. I thought it was executed pretty well outside of just for Kyle Shanahan's decision.
In overtime, right?
In overtime,
because if you're saying that they have urgency, that you're just telling on yourself that you didn't realize that the game was going to continue, I think. Right?
He's like, this clock doesn't mean anything.
It was a meaningless clock, right? But the fact that it was actually running was confusing people. Am I wrong in saying that?
Yeah,
why had the clock and start running quarters, like you said, for a second over halftime show? But and this is what basically the quotes that Devondre was talking about. These are the different players that said they weren't prepared or aware of the overtime rules. Eric Armstead said he learned the details of the postseason rule when it was shown in the Legion Stadium Jumbotron during a TV timeout. And fullback Kyle Juszczyk said he assumed the 49ers asked to receive when they won the toss because that's what you do in the regular season when a touchdown wins the game. Quote, I guess that's not the case. I don't really know the strategy. I guess that's different than not knowing the rules, though. Strategy is different. But my point is like, why would you admit it? I mean, aren't you being derelict in your duties if you're a player to just say, I'm totally unprepared for these rules? Be it as it may that they change a lot and we're all confused. And I get it sometimes. Like, I think fans overestimate what their actual players think about. They're focused on what their job is, on their play, their assignments from their coaches and things like that. Maybe not the entirety of the rules. Maybe that's the coach's job, but it sure seemed like they were unprepared. And for everyone that wanted to call Shanahan this genius, you don't even know the rules because Chris Jones said, we've been preparing for it for 2 weeks. We talked about multiple scenarios. I think it's one thing, yeah, if fans don't know, even us, because they're changing so much. I mean, it's our job to know too, but the players themselves, that's
and when you lose, this is the situation you find yourself in. It's ha ha he he. Look at the losers. They weren't prepared. They weren't ready. And now the winners, no matter what the truth of the matter is, can sit back and say, hey, look, we were prepared for
We knew everything.
We knew every situation that was going down. We wanted to take the ball second. Well, of course, you want to take the ball second. That's the obvious choice. I don't care what analytics say about this. I've heard several people now come out and say,
I got to see.
You know, the analytics are kind of split among the league. Forget the analytics. If anybody is using analytics for this, kick them out of your building, because they're not football people. They're analytic people, and they are muddying up the waters. It was the analytics that bought Kyle Shanahan the idea of, oh, we'll take it first and work it down the field, and we'll put some pressure on them because we really want it third. Hey, bud, that's not the right decision here. You want the ball second. You'll want the ball second. So, yes, terrible decision. Terrible maneuver. And I personally, I think, yes, some guys might not have been unprepared. You'll hear all kinds of crazy stuff happen after games. But the most shocking thing to me about this is they spent 2 weeks coming up with this. And they were like, you could to me, it feels like they got down to the wire. It was like the night before the game. All right, so what do we do if this goes to overtime? And what do we do if we win the toss? I'm really torn. I've done my pros and cons list. I have it written over here.
Checklist.
You know, for some reason, this get the ball third really sticks out to me. It's really speaking loudly. The fact that if we get it third, we then have a chance to end the game with a field goal. I think that's the biggest reason why we should take the ball first. All in favor? I'm
not going to disagree with him.
Not maybe a couple
maybe, but
I feel like
say it.
Yeah, I feel like they racked their brains over what to do on this until the 11th hour, and they just were so torn that they just, all right, we're just going to take it.
Yeah, we're just going to do it
because it might not matter anyway. Well, at the point they're like, wow, we're actually in overtime. This is actually happening.
The best thing is, and the best example as to why you take it second, is go to the second drive and the first series or first set of downs for the Kansas City Chiefs. If they're in 4th and 1 with the ball first at their own 32-yard line or whatever that was.
Yeah.
Are you punting? Right? Like, I mean, that's exactly why you put that difficult decision on them instantly. Like that is, you just take a picture and send it to 31 other buildings and say, that's why you take the ball second. There we go. That's the answer.
I wonder also if it's like, oh, the analytics staff told me. That's an easy thing to blame. Nobody knows who the guys in the analytics office are. Nobody knows. If
he said that, I would roast him even worse. You are the head coach of a football team and you haven't gotten over the hump in the Super Bowl. And you choose to make a decision, not because you chose it, because people told you to choose it. That would be far more egregious. At least he gave me a reason. At least he gave me an answer. I disagree with it, and he's allowed to disagree with me. But man, if he said, no, the analytics guys told me to do it, well, that would be far worse.
But they're always going to be easy scapegoats because they're faceless, nameless people. No one knows who they are.
They're not.
You name one analytics guy in the NFL. You know every head coach. You don't know any analytics guy.
Because you know why? Because the coaches never say the analytic guy told me. Once he says the analytic guy told me, you know the follow-up question by the beat reporters, who's your analytic guy? And then all of a sudden that guy is getting canned at the end of the year when it doesn't work.
Maybe, but we don't know their name. I think that's my point.
I feel like they talk more about the analytic guy in baseball, right, Armin? Like
sure.
Football, it has become like the, hey, John, you coming over like back when you're in like 4th or 5th grade? And my mom said I can't go.
Mom,
all right, well, sweet. That's a trump card. No one can argue with that one. Oh, the analytics people told me to go with it. Now we've just adopted like, well, they know more about football than us, apparently. They know way more about the game that actually gets played by human beings in one event, not 10,000 simulations. One event with legacy on the line, and you got how many Hall of Famers on your side?
And meanwhile, Leon's at home saying, Armin, why'd you put the gum under the desk? Well, because Billy told me to. The analytic guy.
Always blame somebody else. It's like, you ever listen to two guys in a political argument and it starts getting heated because they're on both sides, and then they both agree because they want to stop arguing. They're like, oh, I think it's all the media, and they both agree that the media is
It's
crazy.
totally the media
so they
problem.
blame
Yeah.
the media, and then
Yeah.
that's how they can come
Those
together
sons of
and
guns.
clink their beers and become friends again. Oh, it's hilarious. But yeah, I know what you mean, John. I mean, it could be a scapegoat if you are using that as an excuse. It's a weak crutch, but maybe that's where Shanahan's going now. He's gonna be treading water after losing another Super Bowl here.
I was listening to San Francisco Sports Talk Radio yesterday. Good friend of mine, Joe Shafsky, does mornings there. Him and his partner Bonte, they do the morning show. They were in Vegas for the Super Bowl. They were doing the show from one of their hotel rooms, and you could almost hear tears hitting the floor during their first hour. And then towards the end of it, John, it said, if Kyle's here or not next year, what's our situation? Here or not next year?
Yeah.
Here or not? Wow, that's a different conversation.
Can I say one last point to
I'd
this
love you to.
overtime thing?
Yes.
When you take the ball first, look at what happened. I think they had a bad play and then a false start and then an incompletion, and they were like 3rd and 15.
Mm-hmm.
They got bailed out by a holding call.
Yeah,
now,
hold.
it was legit holding call. It was
Yep,
legit.
good call.
They got bailed out by the Chiefs, but they got bailed out by the Chiefs on a 3rd down. If they had taken the ball second and Kansas City had scored, they wouldn't need to get bailed out on 3rd down because they'd have a 4th down on the other side of it. So they were that quick to punting the ball away and having no control over that game.
And also, you make the job easier if you do get shut out in that first drive for the other team. They just have to play for a field goal. Whereas there's pressure. I mean, San Francisco drove all the way down the field after that holding call, and then they get in the red zone, and it's like, oh, now you're facing the pressure of having to score a touchdown. You don't want to just come out with only 3 here because you know that the Chiefs are getting the ball back.
I've found one kind of comparison to it, and it might not be the right comparison, but it feels the closest in North American sports to the overtime right now. 414-799-1973. Now that you've digested it, you like it or not, you like it, love it. Also, one texter making an argument for the 49ers. There's one. We'll read that for you next. Coming on up, Trey Crosby in 40 minutes talking about the Bucs. Hey, 2-0 record in the Pat Beverly era and blowing out the world champs last night. Some will tell you it doesn't matter, though, because it's the NBA regular season. We'll tell you why. It's 9 to noon on the game.
Tuesday, got your girl in the cut and she Tuesday, club going up on the Tuesday, got your girl.
changes. Wake up in the morning and I ask myself, is life worth living? Should I blast myself? I'm tired of being poor and even worse, I'm black. My stomach hurts, so I'm looking for a purse to snatch. Cops give a damn about a need, bro.
It's 9 to noon on the game. Still picking up after Super Bowl 58 goes into overtime. Second Super Bowl in OT ever. Almost had our 7th double overtime playoff game of NFL history. First ever double overtime Super Bowl. And that script would have been, oh my goodness. That script leak would have been chef's kiss. Even though I think somebody made it as a joke, which is even funnier, that they still almost had that bad boy right. That makes
How
it, John,
crazy
and,
is
that
that,
makes
man?
it almost better.
That makes all the thank God. 3 seconds, man. Thank God, because I was so worried that thing was going into a second quarter that people were going to say, told you it was scripted. I thought I was going to have to fight him off again, or I thought I was going to have to beat him off with a stick.
Yeah, nothing annoys me more than the scripted talk too, when people are actually serious about it. When it's a joke, I think it's funny. When people are telling me about how it's scripted, I'm like, come on, like, can we not do this?
Keegan-Michael Key had maybe one of the best script jokes, who was, oh, by the way, in the commercial when the NFL put out that script commercial, he goes, yeah, and if anybody's thinking that I had a hand in it or really wanted to question it, I was in the spot and I'm a Lions fan. You think I was writing that?
That's amazing.
Don't think I was writing that.
Does it get frustrating for you, John, when people try and because I'm sure people have come up and tried to seriously convince you that there's a script and everything, and you're like, I
pray they haven't.
I played. I mean, like,
no, I actually, to tell you the truth, I love it. Do I get in some discussions, some discretion with this? Yeah. I mean, sometimes I get tired of going back and forth, but normally I listen. People are allowed to have their opinions.
I know.
Football. Just because I played, Armin, doesn't mean I don't want to hear other people's opinions. And there are a lot of people out there. Listen, I'm going to say it. My dad has thought the NFL has been fixed since the 70s.
That's amazing.
I mean, he has been calling games being fixed since the 70s. Whenever the Eagles would beat the Cowboys from about 88 to 91, okay, the transistor radio was thrown out the window of the car, and it was, I told you this damn game is fixed. I mean, I've been experiencing it for 35 years already. It's not that I'm used to it. I'm used to it. And then I played, and then while I'm playing, my dad, I told you it's fixed. Don't get upset when Dad, it's not fixed. I'm playing in the game. Like, I don't know what's happening. I'm literally it's not fixed. I'm telling you.
It's like I'm playing it. If it's fixed, no one's fixing me. Like, what is that? That's awesome. I mean, through the radio. That's like the early version of the viral videos where guys break their TVs.
It's just so good, dude.
This is back when a car used to have a radio that hung from the dashboard, right? It was like 4 screws held it in there, and you could easily go rip it off, throw it out the window.
Okay. I didn't know.
Kind of looked like a CB radio, but it was just your radio. Yeah. You guys know nothing about old stuff yet, and I'm not even old. I'm just a couple years older than the both of you.
I know a couple things about it. Billy knows less because Billy's younger.
Yeah, I know far less. I the only thing that I remember of the radio was the fact that I wanted to go and buy one at Best Buy, and then they said, dude, that thing's gonna get ripped right on out once you go and park somewhere. No, maybe don't do that.
That's a great decision if you live somewhere up north, but you're over here where the Kia boys are coming after you.
Probably not a good decision.
Well, what about, no, I thought you meant like the radios that everybody back in the day, John, would put in their car aftermarket. You must have had buddies like that. I forget the brand. They would get them at Best Buy.
Yeah, Pioneer.
The one that I just described.
JB Audio.
Yeah, okay,
there was a lot of them.
I know what but yeah. And then they would, you could take the cover off and put it away because they would get jacked from your car. People were stealing those.
But who's carrying the faceplate in their pocket when they go into
That's what I'm saying.
A store?
I had a buddy that was
nobody, because they take the faceplate off, they sit it down in the center console.
And that's a radio faceplate, or you just happy to see
They put it in the glove compartment. Well, these were the guys. And these were the guys that did it just to tell you that they had a Pioneer aftermarket radio in their car, that they had this nice stereo. That's all that was.
Oh, you never got one, Armin?
No, first of all, I didn't have a car until after college. But what I did was,
you had that sweet convertible Sebring rolling around in.
Oh yeah, baby, white.
It was worth the wait. It was worth the wait.
And when I had all 4 hubcaps on that thing, let me tell you, because a lot of times they would fall off.
Did you get the hubcap spinners? Did you ever get the?
No, I didn't get that. That would have been awesome.
Should've.
The Latrells, those dove
Definitely
spinners. Oh man.
Oh,
He was trying to let all the ladies know he was a trustworthy guy. He wanted to make sure that no one thought there was
Yeah.
anything wild going on.
Nothing,
Here
nothing
for spinners.
shady. Yeah, I might be flossing out here at a convertible, but it's the grandma
What?
convertible. It's the family friendly one. It's the one you can still trust you with your daughter.
Yeah, what you just said was not family friendly.
Flossing.
414-799-1973.
Isn't that
Floss. Oh, okay.
flossing?
Flossing.
That was the term back then. Educate him, John. That was the term back then. You flossed with your stuff.
That was like your stun. That's your way of
No, like J-Lo said,
showing off.
I think I want to floss my Benz. I don't, or whatever it was. It was part of the J-Lo. Whatever. Don't worry
It's
about
9
it.
to noon on the game. 414-799-1973. Talking some overtime here as well. Andy in the 262 said, guys, stop making excuses for the 49ers. They were unprepared for overtime. They didn't know the rules. The team that didn't know the rule or did know the rules won the Super Bowl. I think he mistyped that. Kyle Shanahan is an overhyped head coach. He hasn't won the big game. When he gets in the position to win the big game, he fails miserably one way or another. I don't know that any of us are making excuses for the 49ers. I think all of us are actually lambasting the 49ers a little bit more like folks online were and on television yesterday. John, the more and more I looked at it, I did not realize that Shanahan was going to have another situation where we walked out of the big game and people were questioning him. I actually did think he had turned a tick of a corner there in the public perception eye.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I don't think Shanahan was unprepared. I think he prepared wrong. I think he just made the wrong decision.
Oh, that's fair.
I think he was prepared for it.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think he knew all the scenarios. I think he made the wrong decision. And honestly, some of the players being confused, I can understand that. I can empathize with that. It's been overtime has changed so many times in the NFL, and this was the first time this one was ever played. So I get it. I'm not excusing it, but I get it.
Flossing by Mike Jones is the
There we
song
go.
that you were
Mike
trying
Jones
to get in
flossing.
there.
Let me find it.
That was the one that you were trying to.
That's going to get played.
Listen to this.
on,
Daryl in Deerfield. Yep, mine got jacked.
I knew it. See?
Told you. The best is when you have a $2,000 stereo in your car and you paid $150 for your car.
for the car.
Certain people
Yep.
did that around here. I don't know who.
One of my favorite, one of these kids I went to high school with, great dude. He had maybe the ugliest, oldest Oldsmobile you could possibly have. And
hand me down, baby.
all of a sudden opens up the back, and the subwoofer that he had in this 2-door Oldsmobile was elite. Like, bro, let's bring this into the basement, have ourselves a hell of a party instead of rolling around here, losing your muffler after 3.5 miles.
Those cars just sounded like they would rattle. They're
Listen,
like, isn't the bass great?
That was the license plate not being screwed in all 4 spots.
Right, right.
Hey, that's very, very natural for a hatchback Mustang to have that problem when you stick a 15-inch subwoofer in the wheel well instead of a spare wheel. It's very popular to do that. Okay.
I know, and I'm like, these guys would want this crazy bass, and I'm like, you can't even hear anything. It just sounds like your car's rattling.
Yeah, it sounds like your car's blowing up. No one's hearing what we're saying here. Exactly.
Yeah, but when you were sitting out front of school before he turned that corner, you knew who was coming around there. That was either Coon Dog or Z Money coming around in one of those 2 cars. Okay?
Jones.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, like I said, I walked to school.
Candy, paint, smoke, drink.
Oh, this was a banger. Have they played this yet on David? I did. I walked. I was too close to get bus service. My house was close to the Greenfield Hive.
Oh, that's too good.
So I didn't go to Whitnall Belly.
414-799.
They must have had nice cars up there at Whitnall. Huh?
Oh,
man.
West Side,
And a lot of
Greenfield.
Camrys. Yeah.
Just all kinds
Yeah.
of-
Yeah.
SE Sport Editions.
Just wild cash just flowing through there with all our Grand Prix and such.
Yeah. We had more Grand Ams.
This one from Colorado, 1981 Dodge hatchback Horizon, $500. Pioneer radio system, sub and speakers, $2,000 in 1992. You know that you had to go and drop all the money you were making on that minimum wage job in high school on the best sound system that your car could possibly
Yeah, I hope
have.
you were getting paid under the table as a busboy because that's the only way.
The only way
can
you're
really
making
afford
that
these things.
cash.
You know, the great thing about the innocence of that era is you could save that money and spend it on stuff like that. You know, you really weren't paying that many bills yet. Not really, unless you were in a weird situation, right?
Nick and Grafton, guys, you took the stereo faceplate off and stuck it in your glove box. Come on, rookies. I love
Center console glove box.
Same thing,
It doesn't matter.
same
thing,
deal.
same
Same deal. Oh man,
They smash your windows for the radio. They're not going to open up your glove box. Oh, come on, they're going to figure it out.
You can tell how serious guys were based on their trunk rattle.
Yep. That's Pat. Pat Red Wing tweeted. The text is absolutely true.
414-799-1973. Keep them coming. There was also a situation that played out in Super Bowl 58 that, according to every other human being that I've talked to and listened to over the last 24 hours or so, I was clearly dead wrong on. We'll bring that to you before Trey Crosby stops by in 20 minutes, talking Bucks and Nuggets on the game.
Still tipping on Vovos, wrapped in Vovos, tipping on Vovos, wrapped in Vovos, tipping on Vovos, wrapped in Vovos, tipping Vovos, and I'm back in Vovos. Now look who creeping, look who crawling, still balling in the mix.
It's 9 to noon on the game. 414-799-1973, the phone number to get in touch with the program on. Trey Crosby is going to join it coming up in 15 minutes. Talk about the Bucks win last night. Sock it to Stinky Feet right now with some free Iron Jock socks now through February 18th. Buy any $75 worth of Iron Jock performance apparel. And not only will you get 25% off your entire order, which is incentive enough to go to ironjock.com, you'll also get 2 free pairs of black low-cut socks when you use promo code 25socks. That's promo code 25SPACE-SOCKS. Make sure you throw that space in there.
Got to.
Want to make sure that you get that promo code when you use that.
You get those socks.
Now
Absolutely.
through February 18th. Go to ironjock.com for details, ironjoc.com. You packing socks next week, or is it just a straight flip-flops weekend for you?
Not for Armin. I always have socks because I always like wearing sneakers, even though if I'm at the pool, obviously I'm wearing sandals. But I'm not a flip-flop all the time guy like Josh Albrecht. I need to have sneakers. I mean, just for walking around, playing. The resorts are big when I play.
Oh, sure.
Tennis.
When you guys get into big tennis matches, that's fair. John, is Vacation Coon a flip-flops guy? Is he a Hey Dudes shoe kind of guy? Because I always feel like most of us have a little bit.
Hey Dudes are all right.
Little bit of an alter ego when we go on vacation.
Yeah.
You turn into just a little bit more fun of a person.
Yeah, I mean, when Armin goes to South Beach, he turns into South Beach Sorry.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah,
so
it's totally
you
different.
You
Right.
got to have different vibes for whatever locale you're going to, and the shoes are very important. And if you're going to the beach, man, you don't need anything but flip flops, and they're just to get you to your seat, and then you're barefoot the rest of the day.
That's fair.
Fred
yeah.
Flintstone all around.
Yeah, but what if you're walking around the resort, John? On going to the pool, not just the beach. Beach, I get. I'm wearing flip flops, the sand and all that stuff.
It's at the pool, flip flops.
Yeah, still
No,
flip-flops.
I'm not. That's crazy talk. Wearing shoes to the pool.
Well, sometimes it gets hot, the cement and everything.
Flip flops.
I know.
What part is it too
the
hot for
flip-flops?
flip flops?
No, that's true. Yeah, I guess
So
you're
you
right.
wear shoes to the pool, unlace, take the socks off, and put the socks back in the shoes, go in the pool, and then
I don't wear the sneakers.
throw
in
them
the
right
pool,
back on.
But if I
Well,
know,
I was hoping not.
no
Sorry,
flip
I
flops.
apologize.
I'm cool with flip flops. But
I thought that was a given.
Excuse Billy for thinking that you wear your shoes in the
Yeah.
pool.
Didn't think that was a given.
no, okay. So yes, if I'm just going to the pool, I'll wear flip flops. If I'm just going to the beach, but if I know I'm walking around the resort, doing the show, I'm not just wearing flip flops all day. It's just not as comfortable for me as like, all right, I'm gonna put some sneakers on, then walk around, do the show, go back to the room, bring the equipment, bring it back, all that stuff.
Oh, that's
Go
true.
eat.
You got to do your pack meal stuff.
I
that's fair.
just think about all that because then it's not as comfortable to just wear flip flops all day. So then if I'm wearing sneakers, I gotta put my Iron Jock socks on because I don't want my feet stinking it up. All right.
No,
Yeah.
not in front of the listeners.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not
Come
on
on.
this vacation.
No, exactly.
Trip. Sorry, not vacation. Sorry. Vacation for Laura. She's going to be living it up. I do love.
It's not a vacation, but it's not a regular work week. I'm not going to sit here and be one of these guys that complain about it. All right. So you're not going to find me complaining, but we will be doing our work down there. So
Dang right. You'll be
Yeah.
doing your work down there. Just like 608 was doing his work back in 1985 when he had his 1972 Monte Carlo, would burn the tires off, had no radio. So I had a double cassette boombox. What a great life.
Oh, in the car, he was just playing his boombox.
Just rolling through this
That's the oldest. That's the
That's
first
awesome.
ever time a person said, I got a system in my car. Right there.
It's the
I
first
got
system.
a bumper.
What was he playing? Foghat? What year was this?
in 1985.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Tony in Oak Creek, the car stereo was fine as long as the car was protected by Viper. If you know, you know.
Stand back.
Ooh,
I don't know what that. I don't know. What's
I'm
that?
missing that one. Is that a good
First
one?
of all, whose song was it in? Protected by Viper, Stand Back. But they were the security systems that everybody put in their car. And if you got too close to the car, you didn't even need to touch the car. The car would just talk to you. Protected by Viper, stand back.
Oh, really?
didn't know
never-
this?
I never knew this,
You
John.
never heard this.
That- That's
I never did.
awesome.
I know there were certain alarms that would say, that would talk a little bit. They would joke about it on TV.
DMX is the band. is
DMX,
the one
I
that
was
put
going
the
to say,
song, yeah.
I was in between like DMX or Method Man. One of them had it in the song.
Get at me, dog. That
Oh.
was the song by DMX. So it would
Thank
just,
you. All right.
as you would get close, it would say, "Hey, bub, Scoot on back. Vipers
Pretty
here.
much.
That's
Pretty much.
awesome. I love that.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
That could have helped me a couple of years ago, or maybe it wouldn't have. Maybe if they wanted to get my Sonata, they were going to get at my Sonata. Prickle's asking if you're sporting a Speedo at the pool.
No, I don't mind wearing a Speedo. Although you have to wear shorter shorts than you used to. None of this board short stuff. All right, come on. This is 2020s now. All right, we're
Oh man,
5-inch length. All right, maybe 7.
poor
All
guy's
right.
just getting dragged. Scott and
Whatever.
Madison. Armin's a dude walking around
Hey.
in aqua socks.
Got to protect those toes. You got to protect the toes.
Listen,
is
from
funny.
what
No
I've
blisters
heard,
for Harmon.
That
from
was
what
my
I've heard about this trip, aqua socks would be like the third strangest outfit I've heard being worn in a pool when we're all wearing long sleeve t-shirts. But that's just me.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm not wearing a pool shirt. All right, I'm not saying. The thing I'll say is the aqua socks, the water shoes. Those were big in the 90s. My mom, before we go
Please tell
to
me you didn't have them.
Noah's Ark, she'd make us wear water shoes and stuff like that, so it wouldn't cut our feet. In public pools, she didn't want us to we go to Noah's Ark, or it was Family Land back then in the Dells. We went there, and yeah, I had some water shoes. I was that kid. Come on,
That's awesome. 414-799-1973. Please keep sending us pictures and what your car was. Like Mailman Jem paid $200 for a 1980 Chevy Citation.
Yeah, that was a car. That was a real car.
Pimped
Chevy
out
Citation.
radio. Put a quart of oil in that thing weekly.
That's about right. That's about right.
Sounds about right for 200. 414-799-1973. We'll ask Trey Crosby what his first ride was. And we'll also ask him about Doc Rivers maybe turning around this defense. Back-to-back games under 100 points. Blow out the world champion Nuggets last night. We'll talk about it with the host of Under T's and Q's and the Cream City Crossover post-game show. Talking about Trey Crosby with John Kuhn. I'm Billy Schmidt. Thanks for hanging out. It's 9 noon on the game.
La 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 la, wait till I get my money right. I had a dream I could buy my way to heaven. When I awoke, I spent that on a necklace. I told God I'll be back in a second. Man, it's so hard not to act reckless. To whom much is given, much is tested. Get arrested, guess until he get the message.
It's hour 2 of 9 to noon. Thanks for hanging out. There were 4 combined league MVPs on the floor last night. 3 to maybe 4 Hall of Famers, depending on where some guys end up sliding on in the Basketball Hall of Fame. But it was a who's who in a star-studded event last night as the world champs were at Fiserv Forum and got blown out thanks to, I believe, shooting 26% from 3 for the Denver Nuggets last night. Bucks all over Denver at Fiserv Forum. It was a good one to be at for myself. Trey Crosby watched it and talked about it with you after the game on your T's and Q's on Saturday mornings and on the iHeartRadio app right here on the game. Also after the game, Cream City Crossover on X is where you react and talk post-game with our guy Trey. Trey, always appreciate it, my man. Thanks for hanging out with us here again. I had just said about 25 minutes ago, part of the lead and part of the tease was this is, I thought, a good win. Some will tell you that it doesn't mean anything, but they've now won back-to-back games since the trade deadline, and it seemed, at least just from the naked eye, in the arena last night, that there was a good energy about this club after the deadline passes, one addition, and maybe, just maybe more importantly, no subtractions, and guys can play a little bit free. How did you view that, and what have you noticed here in the last couple of games since the deadline? Trey Crosby in 4, 3.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute.
You're good, man. You're good, dude. I bet that stuff on mute, though, was fire. I bet that was some absolute smoke that you just threw out there in the first couple of seconds. Trey, hell of a game last night, though.
It was a big game, and yeah, I guess I would say that, you look at this basketball team. You talked about is it a big game? What did it mean for the Bucks? But this is the first time in a while, right, that you've seen this Milwaukee Bucks basketball team hold consecutive teams under 100 points. And I get that it's the Charlotte Hornets, but this time it was the Denver Nuggets, right? And so that's a little bit bigger of a deal. I know Jamal Murray has dealing with some injuries, and I know they had KCP out as well, but you look at this basketball team, and you're starting to see this defense come around, and it didn't take much, right? Like it really didn't take much from Doc Rivers to kind of change, to really make those. It was really minor adjustments that he's made for this basketball team that has transformed this defense. And so again, you see it looks like the guys are bought in. Patrick Beverly's bringing that, that mentality, that don't, a lot of that pit bull mentality to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Nice,
and
Trey.
So you're loving what you're seeing right now from this basketball team.
And Trey, talking about Patrick Beverly, you're talking about him and Campaign, like the interchanging of the two of them. What has been your eye specifically, because a lot of people think Pat Beverly, it's just defense, but that's just not the case.
No, it hasn't just been defense, and that was one of the things I don't think I realized as much about Pat Beverly from watching him play, is that it's not just the way he defends, but also the way he runs an offense. And so does he shoot the ball as well as the Campaign? Absolutely not. Does he maybe have some of the prowess on offense that Campaign has? No, he doesn't. But he can get you in and out of sets. He can initiate an offense. So from that perspective, I think I really like what I've seen from Patrick Beverly. And then, of course, he is Mr. 94 feet. He's giving you that toughness. He's giving you the leadership. Remember, he was taking the clipboard from Doc first 5 minutes that he got in Milwaukee. And so, again, this trade the Milwaukee Bucks made kind of PJ Tucker light, right? Like where a team that, again, can he defend a PJ Tucker type where, PJ Tucker can defend in multiple positions? No, Patrick Beverly can't get down there with the bigs. But again, he's going to provide that spark, that energy, and hold people accountable to a way that, when you look at the leaders of this basketball team, you're looking at Giannis, obviously, and Chris Middleton and Damian Lillard. But none of those guys, you don't really see them as like just super vocal. Whereas you look at Patrick Beverley, and even though he doesn't have the name the name recognition that those guys have, he's not afraid to hold people's feet to the fire. And I think that's some of the things you need in a championship team. You need a guy that can do some of that. He proves it on and off the court.
Well, and Trey, that exact part, and you mentioned Doc, not being upset when my man grabs the clipboard. Like, dude, you pulled in here 4.5 hours ago. You're staying at the Hilton. Like, I probably wouldn't be drawing up plays in the timeout here on the first TV timeout. But he had said in the video that was leaking on his live stream on his Barstool podcast, Doc's going to let me do my thing.
Yep.
And I wonder how for Rivers, he mentioned it at his opening press conference of, I'm going to have to make some new friends. But he also has brought in Dave Yeager, who's sitting right next to him, right? Rex is right next to him on the bench. Maybe it's good for Rivers to have some familiarity and at least feel like he's got one guy that he's coached and can be a little bit of his voice in amongst the players, because there's only so much communication and so much his voice I would imagine he can use throughout the entire game and stuff.
Right, and if you remember, they talked about the other game, the other night, where Patrick Beverley called a play that I think that hadn't been run since Doc was in LA. There is that familiarity that those guys have. They've played together, and Patrick Beverley realizes and understands that Doc Rivers is going to let him be that guy that can run the offense and do what he wants to do within that second unit, within that second group. So again, I think it's been phenomenal. The addition that Patrick Beverley's been to this basketball team, and again, Doc Rivers. I mean, how many times have they practiced? So again, these guys are still learning each other at this point, and what you could say, was the road trip all you could expect it to be? No. But these guys are learning, they're figuring things out, and the schedule now very favorable, especially when you look at this Denver game. That was probably one of the toughest games on the schedule for the next outside of, I think, Minnesota coming up next week. But I mean, all the way up to March 1st. I mean, like I was saying, I think the Bucks will go 6-2, and one of those was splitting this back-to-back with Denver and Miami. And the Bucks play Miami tonight. But unfortunate for Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler's going to be out. This is a really great opportunity for the Bucks to get some momentum going into the All-Star break and then coming out of the All-Star break. And then you hit, I think, March 1st, the Milwaukee Bucks play the Chicago Bulls. And then at that point, you try to propel yourself in through March, out through March, and getting ready for the playoffs. So again, the Bucks are in a great spot right now. It helped that they were already on a 70% win clip before Doc Rivers got here, and now everything is just expanded even more, even more so.
All right, Trey, kind of a silly situation here. Doc Rivers coaching in the All-Star game. I'm just curious, how weird is this to you? How silly is it? What should the NBA have done?
Yeah, I don't know that it's weird. I mean, it is kind of weird, I guess, but the Bucks staff earned it. This is the group that was there. I know the couple guys that he added, Dave Yeager and
Rex Kalamian. Rex Kalamian.
I know the guys he added. They're not going to be there coaching. Doc Rivers gave the game check and has given the game check and has given I believe they get a ring as well or something.
Yep.
To Adrian Griffin, and again, that's well deserved. But again, I'm glad. I think there was some talk earlier about whether or not Doc would relinquish that to whoever was next. I'm guessing that would be Tom Thibodeau or maybe JB Bickerstaff actually. But no, I think that, again, their staff absolutely earned it, deserved it, and guys like Joe Prunty, guys like Ben Baker, those guys absolutely deserve to be part of All-Star Weekend. So I'm glad they're going to get to experience that. When you think of All-Star Weekend, what's your favorite part? I think at this point it's the game. I think it used to be the slam dunk contest, but it's really not that anymore. So yeah, probably a mix between the 3-point shootout and the actual game.
It's like a celebrity game.
Have you ever been to the All-Star facilities?
You say All-Star? I mean, have I been to? I went to All-Star. Go ahead.
Yeah, the weekend. Have you seen the dunk contest? Have you seen the 3-point? Have you been a part of the whole thing?
Yes, I was there in LA. I can't remember what year that was, but I was there in LA. Giannis was a part of it. It was a real fun experience. That was the year Fergie sang the national anthem, and everybody got clowned her for it.
Oh, that's right. That's a good one. That's a good memory.
What were your thoughts? I've been to an All-Star weekend down in New Orleans, and I was incredibly. I was incredibly underwhelmed by the dunk contest, 3-point contest, the skills competition. Did you feel the same way? Should they beef this thing up? How do they fix it?
Yeah, I would say Saturday night was kind of you know, a little bit on the lame side. I would say the events of the actual All-Star weekend very underwhelming. I thought the game was good. I did enjoy going to the game. But I think I went to the celebrity game. It was like in a convention center. It was kind of weird.
The celebrity
and then,
game, man.
The Saturday night stuff it was cool being there, but it just seems like it goes really fast, and there's not a lot of things to happen in between. Again, game was good, but I will say LA during that time period, I mean, it was the weekend itself, the things that are going on outside of the event, the actual events, the parties, the people, and just all the hoopla surrounding it. Definitely, it fit the billing. I'm assuming it went well in New Orleans outside of it. But yeah, the actual game and all the events outside the game, I thought, just didn't hold up. So I would agree with that point.
That is funny because it does seem like Super Bowl style event, you know, who's who, a lot of celebrities coming on in, maybe let down for everything that happens on the floor, but everybody seems to have a freaking great time at All-Star Weekend, right? Like it seems to be, it's the potentially worst of the games, although now, you know, the NFL playing flag football, it's one of the lesser enjoyed products, but it just seems from the style of it and the enjoyment factor for the players and fans, you can at least find yourself into some very, very good times there. Dame talked about it being able to bring his family there this weekend. And then I ran into Wes Edens last night, guys.
Well, is he playing? Because I'm going to miss Mark Lazarus playing every year in the All-Star Celebrity Game.
Well,
I don't know about you guys, but when he finally hit that 9-point career high after 5 years,
loving it.
The way he mixes guys up in the post and everything like that.
When I was seeing Wes last night, he was in the team store, and my man was basically just letting everybody know the Lululemon stuff is amazing, right? Like, check out this Bucks Lululemon stuff. It's pretty amazing.
He was there pushing.
He's standing right next to the Lululemon rack and just being like, guys, this stuff's amazing. He was there with a couple of people getting them set up, you know, get them some gear.
Did you take a look, Billy? Did they have your size?
They did not.
Yoga pants, they fit differently.
Yeah, and
the
your
ABC pants are good, but I'm not getting Bucks ones.
Your boy's not in Lulu shape quite yet. Maybe at some particular point in time we can get there. But all this, I just look on over here, and my man is trying to sell gear, not getting ready for the Celebrity All-Star Game, Armin. So I think,
what's up with that?
I think the Bucks owner is going to be out unless Jimmy Haslam steps on up.
He's not on the roster. I got the rosters right here. He's not on the roster. So Micah Parsons is on Team Shannon. So that'll be pretty good.
That's fantastic.
CJ Stroud's playing on Team Stephen A. So that might be fun.
I bet CJ Stroud's got a little bit of game. Maybe a little bit of game.
Oh, heck yeah.
Last night, though, Trey, in the arena, you could still feel the electricity. And we were talking about a little bit pre-show that for all the lead up to the deadline was Bobby Portis going to be out of here. Bobby Portis got to be on another team. They got to get an upgrade here. They got to get something better. When he gets a technical foul and Pat Beverly gives him the double fist to the chest and that place erupted, there's still, outside of Giannis doing something and mean mugging everybody and getting the MVP chance, there's nobody that gets that stadium more insane than Bobby Portis. And it feels like maybe he can play with a little bit of a load off his shoulder. Or am I just being a little bit too nice to Bob and the crazy eyes?
You know, I mean, again, there's some high points that Bobby Portis has. I obviously still will always be a fan favorite for some of the things he did in 2021 coming to this basketball team. So, yeah, I mean, I'm all there with you. The nostalgia is there. And, you know, you like Bobby Portis. I think everybody wants Bobby Portis to play well. Again, you saw last night. The first half, I thought Bobby Portis had a really, really nice first half. I believe he might have had about 13 points in the first half. And the second half, you know, it all kind of fell apart. Both
ended with 13 points.
And so that's kind of, you know, that's the story of Bobby Portis, and it's going to be, can he be consistent through a full 48 minutes or how many minutes he actually gets on the floor? Can he be consistent throughout that on both ends? Now, I will say that Doc Rivers' defense has helped him out a little bit, and it doesn't make him look as bad in those one-on-one situations. But as long as the offense, and I think the other thing Doc Rivers has done to change his basketball team up is you don't see as many. We used to call him like black hole Bobby, where the ball would go to Bobby Portis.
He'd shoot,
and it was just like nothing else would happen, right? Like he'd have the ball, and you know, nothing. There was nothing else going on. Well, now you're in a situation where Bobby Portis gets the basketball, and it seems like the ball does swing a little bit more. The ball movement happens, and so I think that has helped his game tremendously because at that point, if the ball just goes to you in the post, and it's either you make some move or you shoot it. I mean, you're just at the mercy of your jump shot that night. So you do want to see him look to pass the ball a little bit better. So again, I'm hoping that he will continue to stack some good performances on top of one another. But again, you saw what happened during that 2021 run against Brooklyn. He didn't play games 5, 6, or 7. And so if he has to sit down, will Doc Rivers, be able to sit him down and say, look, this isn't a series for you. That remains to be seen, the type of adjustments that Doc Rivers will make during a playoff series. But yeah, I'm not upset about Bobby Portis still being on his basketball team. He still has some positives that he brings, but it's just, can your positives outweigh the negatives? And he certainly has those as well.
Yeah, and another guy that people get really fired up for is when we get into garbage time and Thanasis gets into the game.
So awesome.
He is an absolute electric factory for all the right and wrong reasons.
Yes, baby.
How much do you love when Thanasis gets in the game, Trey? And
Trey loves it, I'm sure.
Is he a black hole as well?
So I think it's hilarious watching Thanasis play and doing, whatever he does at times on the floor. I mean, he tries hard, man. He tries.
That's for sure.
He's a tryhard.
Yes,
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
High motor.
He made a big impact in that one playoff game. Come on now, with that one time moment.
Yeah, that one time. He has. I will say this too about for a 15th man, because I don't know if you saw or listened to the podcast that Jeff Teague has, but Jeff Teague talked about how there were guys on the Bucks bench during that Brooklyn series that were kind of thought the Bucks were going to lose.
Yes, yes, Trey. Yes.
Good point. Yeah.
Such a loser attitude, and sometimes those 13, 14, 15 men on the bench who think they should be in the game, they can bring the team down, or they can have that negative energy. The Nash is just happy to be there, and he doesn't care. And so, for a morale type, you look at the bench all the time. The Nash is up every play. He's up. He's walking around. He's always going to be interjected. So you just don't have to worry about the guy potentially bringing the team down or having a bad attitude, a la Serge Ibaka, Samuel Dallenberg, if you remember. But some of those type of players who are just locker room cancers and guys that aren't always happy about their role, you don't have to really worry about that. Now on the flip side, you have a roster spot, and again, I'll pick a guy like AJ Green or Sam Merrill, who's now in Cleveland, a rotational guard out in Cleveland, where that could be a role. Because AJ Green's been on the Bucks for a couple of years. You need those spots because, again, are you going to hit every draft pick? No. Are you going to hit every undrafted rookie that you sign? No. But there's going to be a guy or two that you could have sitting on your roster that if they had that spot, you don't know what they're going to develop into. And, Doc Rivers talked about, to trust one or two of the young guys. And it seems like he's found the young guy he's going to trust. And again, people maybe thought it was either going to be Andre Jackson Jr. or Marjon Beauchamp. Nope, it's AJ Green.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Trey, you get 3 rings for bringing up Samuel Dallenberg. Like that, just when DMP Dallenberg comes in, it just at the end of the conversation just warms my heart. He gives out $100 Best Buy gift cards to all of us ball kids.
Let's go.
And the one, I can't remember who it was, maybe Drew Gooden. Somebody else goes, "Why you do that?" He goes, "Well, I hang out with these more than y'all on the bench, so might as well take care of them, buy them Christmas presents and not y'all." That was one of my favorite lines of all time. And surprisingly, that team won, I think, 34 games. So not surprising in and of itself.
It's pretty good, actually.
You look around the rest of the NBA. What now that we're inside of All-Star Weekend coming on up? This is once the push towards the playoffs will start going up. Who around the league is really catching your interest on League Pass? Who is the team that everybody's going to look at? Boston. Everybody wants to talk about Miami, who's in here tonight. Philadelphia looks very, very different with Embiid out, and 4 weeks we'll check on seeing how that meniscus is for him. What is the East looking like in your estimation right now here about 2 months out from the playoffs?
Well, you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers basketball team, who has just continued to win. I think as before last night, I think they won like 15 of their last 16. You look at obviously the New York Knicks, and my thing about the Knicks, right? And I think they got so much love before the deadline or at the deadline for all the moves that they made, bringing in Bogdanovich and making the splashes. And my issue with the Knicks still is their top guy, Jalen Brunson. I think he is phenomenal. One of the best point guards in the East. He's outplayed Damian Lillard so far in the East this year as a point guard. But how far can the Knicks go? Jalen Brunson is their best player. And I think it's one of the things where you look at the Knicks and they improve the middle part of their roster, but your top end guys are the guys that are going to matter in a 7-game playoff series. So are the Knicks fun? Yes. Is the NBA better when the Knicks are fun? Yes. Can they make noise? Absolutely. Did they put themselves in a position where, because again, injuries always happen. Did they put themselves in the position where if there's a Chris Middleton sprained ankle, a Jason Tatum, bruised sternum or something, did they put themselves in the position if there's an injury? Could they make some noise and make a run to the Eastern Conference? Absolutely. But all things considered, if everybody's healthy, I don't think the Knicks are there. But I do like what they did with that basketball team. But again, I think it's going to be fun. We'll see what happens with the Pacers. Obviously, talking about one of the more fun teams to watch. They have a lot of swagger and a lot of moxie about them as well. So in the East, I think, you're looking at those teams, and I do think there's so much more parity in the NBA, which is what people wanted to see, that you can see some interesting matchups that are going to happen. And you talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. You look at the Sixers team and know Embiid, they're struggling. They're in a free fall. They're probably going to be, they may be the 6th seed, 7th seed. So if you're sitting at 3, Joel Embiid I believe he is going to come back. I don't know what type of health he'll be in, but you could be in a whirlwind of trouble or have a very formidable first-round opponent, even if you're one of the top 3 seeds, depending on where else you fall. And of course, what Miami can do in the playoffs. They kind of play around all regular season. For a team that's all culture.
Mm-hmm.
They choose to not care at all about the first 82 games, and then they decide to play in the playoffs. So again, I do think from top to bottom, even if you're a Boston Celtics team, you're gonna have to come in with a lot of. You're gonna have to come in prepared, and they're gone are the days now where the 1 seed just waltzes through to the second round. You're gonna have to really play each round of the playoffs.
All right, Trey, I hope I don't catch you off guard here, but I want to bring you into a topic we were talking about first hour, and that is your first car in high school, maybe potentially graduating high school. It was probably a beater, but maybe it wasn't. And what kind of system did you put in it? Were you a Pioneer guy, JBL audio? Did the trunk rattle when you were going down the street?
The trunk rattled because my bass was kind of off, so I didn't have a great system in it. So I blasted as high as I could. But I had so that was about 2010. Well, no. I got my first car in 2008. I was a sophomore in high school, 2007, something like that. Anyway, probably 2007, and it was like a 04. It was the 04 F-150.
Oh, nice, Trey.
That's what I'm talking
How
about.
did you put a system in that thing?
Trey an F-150, man.
Yeah. I was in F-150 cruising down the street.
Wow, just showing off in the F1. That's a good look. Now that is much better than me pulling up in the 2-door Grand Prix where everyone's like, "How about you get a car that fits you, bud?" Like, you got the seat all the way reclined and my arm is reaching out of the back window. Probably a little bit better idea. That's fantastic. Trey, you're a football guy.
Nice.
What'd you think of the Super Bowl?
I thought again, Patrick Mahomes showed difference between game changer versus a game manager. I'm not throwing any shade to Brock Purdy, but those are the differences. And then Kyle Shanahan, I just couldn't believe they just seemed like they were underprepared. People are saying that Kyle Shanahan is the Doc Rivers of the NFL. Blowing all these leads, it's just crazy. And how's your team? And this is Coon, tell me if you weren't prepared or you didn't know the overtime rules, would you come out and then say it in a post game interview? You gotta lie. You gotta tell. So there's no reason you're coming out after the game if you had no idea
Why would you say it?
how the
Right.
overtime rules work. And they've been in place since for a couple of years now. So I thought that piece about it was very interesting. And then the reason that Kyle Shanahan did for taking the ball, so a couple of things. You went away from Christian McCaffrey. I didn't understand that part of the game. And then taking the ball first just made zero sense. And his reasoning behind it was, well, we wanted to.
It was even worse.
For the third possession of overtime, which is like that insane. Because again, if you really want to do that, take the ball second, and then Kansas City scores, go for 2. So I didn't understand that.
Trey, always appreciate it, man. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy All-Star Weekend. Thanks as always. We'll talk next week on Tuesday. All right.
Appreciate you guys.
Trey Crosby on your T's and Q's here on Saturdays on 97.3 The Game. Also, Cream City Crossover post-game show. He talks to folks right after Bucks games every single game. That's awesome. I did not have the F-150 on my bingo card.
Yeah, that's nice,
that would definitely not have been picked. And I'm trying to wonder where he put the subwoofer.
You never got that answer to that question.
Yeah, he said I just cranked the bass up, but what? Was it just that he didn't let anybody sit in the back seat? He just said, "Here, hold on, that's where my bass goes. You guys are gonna have to ride in the trunk." 414-799-1973. So many good ones to run through here on the Talking Text line. Pictures, breakdowns. What kind of subwoofer did you have? What kind of radio? What kind of system did you have? How are you finding that kind of happy place? Fill you in on that coming up next. It's 9 to noon on The Game.
Now this thing is jumping.
John Kuhn here for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. And with raising prices, it's almost impossible to get a good interest rate on anything these days. And I don't know how Pella is doing this, but listen to this incredible deal. 0% interest. I said 0% interest for 60 months. That's 5 years, no interest. And imagine having beautiful Pella windows and doors, but not having to make a single payment on them for 5 years. Wow, that's incredible. So take advantage, because this deal at Pella only lasts until February 23rd. Pella's expert team installs year-round, and they can customize any new window or door to match your unique home decor. They finish installation as little as a day, and when they leave, you cannot tell they were in your home. Obviously, you have new windows and doors, but that's about it. I was blown away by the talent, the efficiency, and professionalism encapsulating the team at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. So go home, start customizing your new home today with 0% interest for up to 5 years, or no money down, no interest, and no payment for 18 months. Hey, you got choices too, but you got to hurry. February 23rd, that's when this offer ends. So visit PellaWI.com and tell Gina Della that John Kuhn sent you. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
10 o'clock hour and 9 to noon is brought to you by Happy Place Hemp and HappyPlaceHemp.com. I'm Bill Schmidt, and I'm a huge fan of Happy Place Hemp and HappyPlaceHemp.com, not only because they give you 25% off when you use my promo code Billy, but because of their Delta and Delta 9 gummies, allowing you to relax and reach new levels of chill. And maybe let's put the little ones to bed and enjoy a little bit of your own time, some relaxing time, and soak in on a big basketball butt kicking like there was last night with some THC, CBD, citrus flavored seltzer called Drift. No alcohol, no calories. Just helps you drift into happiness with free shipping of an order of 3 or more 4-packs. You can get those plus their Delta 8, Delta 9, CBN, Sleepy Time gummies, all at HappyPlaceHemp.com using promo code Billy for 25% off your entire order every time at Happy Place Hemp and HappyPlaceHemp.com. All right, we're going to get back to your rides in just one second because I think I was on the Drew and KB Spectacular when they did one time the most famous high school athlete you played against or you went to school with. People love bringing that one up. They also love bringing up how cool they potentially were in high school. And this is a great way to tap on into this just a little bit. But first, before we get into, I wanted to get back to just a little bit more football. The Leo Chanel game on Sunday cannot be forgotten about. A couple of Badger ties here. One coming up that many people wanted his name attached to the Green Bay Packers. But Chanel gets the block punt or block field goal, PAT, pardon me, that allows it to be tied with a field goal there in the fourth quarter. Forces the fumble early. PFF had him graded, John, as the highest rated player in the Super Bowl at 92%. Goodness gracious, the former Badger balling out there at number 54 for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, and you realize when an impact play like a turnover or being a part of that blocked extra point, those things raise the grades pretty high. And how could he have graded out higher than a Patrick Mahomes?
That's a very good question.
You wonder this because Patrick Mahomes is graded off of what he's expected to do and what he actually does. And Leo Chanel he's graded by the same in the impact of his plays. And it's not uncommon to roll in after a football game and get grades. Now, PFF grades are highly scrutinized by
and very
current players, former players. They have their model. They have their metrics. So do football people. And it was not uncommon to roll in after. I mean, I saw after a game where a guy would get the game ball for the game and have a losing performance by his coach with his grade. It was not uncommon to see a situation like this potentially go down. He could grade out poorly, but he made a couple plays that meant all the difference in the game, and he gets a game ball even though he had a losing performance, a poor grade, maybe a 69% or a 61%. Yep. And then all of a sudden, he still gets the game ball because those plays that he did make were such big plays.
So I actually thought that Leo Chanel's championship moment was last year. I didn't think he was going to make a bigger impact than he did, Armin, when he jumped from the asphalt during the Super Bowl parade and caught the top part of the double-decker bus, pulled himself up and got himself back up onto the float. Videos in your guys' inbox if you want to see
I didn't realize
that insane feat of athleticism. That was another championship moment right there that he had a year ago, and let's see what they can do on Wednesday.
Can I tell you something about Leo Chanel that I did not realize of this guy coming out of Wisconsin? Is that he is built amazingly. Seeing him on the sideline this year, I was amazed. This guy is stacked up.
He's a specimen, yeah.
This is no exaggeration, like a TJ Watt. Like he's built like a TJ Watt. And that is a massive jump that he makes to grab the double-decker bus and pull himself up to the top of that thing. I don't even know. Don't be surprised if you see some crazy stuff like this happening at this year's Super Bowl parade. Now, Travis is going to take it over the top, and Taylor's going to be there. All of a sudden, Jason Kelce, who was a Philadelphia Eagle, is now basically just a Kansas City Chief. I would not be surprised to see him on this championship parade.
Yeah.
This thing is going to get bonkers. This thing is going to get wild, and they just keep upping the ante with each and every win.
Well, and that's the thing. It feels like they truly believe in their heart that they need to one up themselves every single time. Somehow they seemingly have, right? Like they've done a little bit better party each time. That would be a good problem to have. Man, we're gonna we're gonna have to find a way to make this championship parade better than the last one.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I noticed that the double-decker buses are now the parade vehicle of choice for sports parades. You notice that? Like, it used to be like sometimes back in the day, guys would be in convertibles or guys would be in individual cars, but it's all about double-decker buses now. I feel like Bucks had that as well.
And very orderly with the fences on the sides of the road. I mean, I can remember in Pittsburgh, we were in the back of an F-150. There were a couple guys sitting, on that little back dash of Corvette convertibles, and it was cold in Pittsburgh, and we didn't have any fences here, so that thing got mobbed, and it took hours to get through the city on that one. Obviously, we didn't have one in Green Bay, but we had to return to Titletown. We had that big, celebration at the stadium, which I'm sure had some traffic leaving afterwards.
There was return to Titletown. Yeah.
Were you there, Armin?
Wasn't there. Was working.
How did you not make it up?
Oh, I was running the board.
That's a
actually.
great question.
You were running the board.
Yeah, not here at the other station. Yeah, I was running it live. But the thing about it is,
you pissed?
No, I was really in a great mood. The Packers had just won the Super Bowl.
You probably have it. You probably just love the fact that you were watching it on television even while you were working.
Right. No, it was great to be watching it, obviously. Great to experience it. But the other thing at the time was that
you didn't experience it.
Aaron was I kept comparing everything to 96, and Brett didn't go to the return of Titletown. So Aaron was there. So I thought that was a great big deal when that Aaron came walking in.
Oh, wow. Was he in Disney World or something? Or
possibly.
MVP situation? He wasn't the MVP.
Brett did not come to Green Bay for that celebration. He wasn't there. So people forget that. But the other thing that people were upset about, though, is that there wasn't a parade, right, John? People wanted a parade in Green Bay, and everyone lined up to watch the buses, but they drove through like normal speeds.
I think next Super Bowl win, it's a parade from Green Bay all the way to Milwaukee, all the way down 43.
Why not? I remember there was a debate. Like
the state's team.
Some people were saying like they should have a parade in Milwaukee because it's the state's team, like you said. Why not have multiple parades?
Yeah, I like one big parade.
One massive parade.
You started at Austin Straubel Airport.
That's exactly where I was thinking.
Down Main Street in Green Bay. Go over Mason. Work your way down the street there, Mason Street Bridge, kick over to Main Street, hit Main Street. You can take Main Street all the way there to 43, and then you take 43 all the way down. You hop off there by Pfizer Forum, make that little right there on that road by the church, and just work your way down through that city, and then hop back on 43 again, finish yourself off at General Mitchell. Very easy.
Good call, yeah.
So when you're coming from Green Bay on 43 to Milwaukee, it's regular speed at that point. You're not going parade speed still.
No, we stopped the parade. No, the cars. If you want to be on the side of the road, that's fine. But I just think you do the parade, and everybody's outside on the top of these double-decker buses, and you're having a damn good time. And then once you get back on to 43, all the players crawl back inside. They have themselves about an hour and 15, an hour and 30 minutes to lubricate on their way down to Milwaukee. And then when you get there, it's back to parade speeds again. Once you hop off 43, boom, here you go.
That would be the drunkest celebration of all time. If you took an hour and 15-minute hiatus to try.
Especially when they tell all the workers in Milwaukee, hey, the parade started. Everybody's going to go down there to the route and stand there and wait for 2 hours. No problem in the cold. They don't care.
Okay. That's a fantastic idea. I think you can slow down in Sheboygan, at least for a wave. I mean, wouldn't you?
That's fair. Yeah.
I think you slow down in a couple
quick
of spots.
Celebration at the Acuity flag and then drive it right back on through.
There you go. Yeah. Man, that's actually a heck of an idea. I actually love that idea.
Similar situation that Armin had for me for the Bucks championship rate. We were just happy to.
I was happy to be
happy
there.
They won,
and I was happy you
wasn't salty at all that we weren't there.
Yeah, I'm so glad you got to go when the rest of us wanted to go, but we couldn't go. We had other obligations.
Billy hopped in early for me. Do you remember that day?
I do remember that day.
You hopped in early so I could drive down there and catch you. And I
got in there.
I caught the speeches and stuff on stage.
There was no reason why both of us should miss it. Might as well celebrate that championship, and now they're going to get another one.
Let's get
to
more.
Celebrate.
Let's just get more to celebrate so we can all go to all of them. Let's just
this
get
looks fun.
Yeah,
I want to do this. I want to be thinking about a parade tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, maybe we do that coming up in 2024. I'll tell you what Las Vegas is putting the odds of that happening at for the Green Bay Packers coming up here next. We'll get into our investment hour in the 11 o'clock hour as we always do. Back to some of your rides. Tell us how cool you were back in the day as well. It's 9 to noon on the game.
Rolling, they hating, patrolling and trying to catch me riding dirty, trying to catch me riding dirty, trying to catch me riding dirty, trying to catch me riding.
Come on, John. That the legendary John Chaney going at a very young John Calipari at UMass
30
way
years
back
ago.
in the day, 30 years ago today. And today, not yesterday.
Today, baby. We
not
got
yesterday,
one.
not 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Today was when that happened.
Oh, that was so exciting to watch on
God.
the highlights
Armin
of it.
got one on the money. That's
Yeah.
what I learned. Armin got one. Right
Finally
on the
got
money.
one.
That's awesome.
We finally got him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
him. I wish there's just nothing like that anymore. You don't see those type of. We ran into this press conference. You can see the reporters standing there. Man,
To not complain about his coaching, to not complain about what his team did, to be mad at him for yelling at the officials because I got roasted for yelling at the officials in the last game.
well, yeah, and he was also accusing him of sending. I think there was like sending. He's like, I'm going to send in goons and I'm going to hit your guy. And I think he was accusing him of some dirty tactics. Calipari, Chaney, just classic, man. Those were the days. That was only A10, and that was in the Atlantic 10 where people were just getting real fired up back then, and the rivalries were starting to bubble up on the East Coast. College basketball rivalries, man, that is some good stuff.
John Chaney
is some good stuff.
He is one of the most legendary guys in college
yeah.
basketball. That's for sure. We lost him a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
sadly, but he was the goods.
He had Temple going for a number of years, no doubt about it. So
Could he have maybe even got DePaul into some kind of respectability? Or no?
I don't know if anyone
there's
can
no
do
chance.
that. You know,
There's no chance.
that's a case. That's a tough one. I mean, I don't know who's going to save DePaul.
They got that guy that gave him the job before Marquette went down there. You thought Bud looked like a dude who was sitting at a casino playing a game that he had no idea what the rules were. This dude looked like he had 4 mortgages on it. Eyes just bulging out of his head. He's like, what on earth did I just accept?
Hey, Billy,
Matt
do you know
Brady,
what it's
yeah.
like coaching now? You coach at a high school level. When the kids are out there just doing their damn thing, what is going on?
Right,
What's
you're just-
going on? There have been many times I've been coaching. Now I do listen. I'll admit U8, U10 girls soccer, okay, in the De Pere Rapids Rec League, and now 3rd grade girls basketball in the Catholic School League up here. And it's it's interesting because there are moments where it doesn't matter what you say.
Not at
And
all.
they just go
No.
out there and they're doing their own thing and they feel good doing it too. I got this. I got you, coach. You're proud, right? You threw the ball straight into the wall. What are you talking about? I mean,
Not what we
yes,
practiced.
yes, I'm proud. But next time, let's face it towards the rim. Okay?
This is not the passing drill that we were doing on Tuesday at practice.
and if you think those thoughts aren't had, but just at a completely different level in high school, college, professional level, you're crazy. This happens all the time when players go out there and they do what they think is best, and the coaches have no control. That's why every game will be a player's game. It always comes down to the players.
Yeah, there's only so much that you can do on the sideline. What are we looking at for 3rd grade girls basketball in the rec league? We
got a big one this week.
Here we go.
We're 2-0 right now. We got a big one this week on Thursday. This is Holy Family, and this one is. We win this one, we're winning this league. We're taking the crown for the league if we win this one.
They put a good one on Thursday Night Prime.
Well, this is the
Here we
best
go.
team. This is the best team in the league. Apparently, there's a girl on this team. We've done our scouting report, and she's a baller. She can actually dribble with her left hand too, and that makes her
Whoa, that's tough.
multifaceted. That
Yes.
makes her incredibly dangerous. If she can dribble with her right hand and her left hand, we're going to have some fits there. I'm going to have to really work on the shuffle drill tonight after school. Those girls their quads are going to be burning.
It also is tough on coach because one of the easiest ones of force her left. She can dribble with her left hand. That one doesn't always play.
We're just going to double team her.
I was
every
gonna
time
say.
It's a good call. Get the ball out of her hands.
And you can't full court press, but you can start pressing at half court. So I'm going to have one at half court and one at the 3-point line. And I'm going to tell the second girl, whichever way she goes, you cut her off. You just cut
Right
her
there.
off. She's got to pass. If everybody else scores and beats us,
That's fine.
okay. She can't beat us. That's our number one, prime goal to have in this ball game. She can't beat us. And then I got to hope, we make a couple shots.
I just figured
That's
you would
awesome.
have some sort of junk defense fired up for this box and one, but I like this double team. It's sort of like the
Listen,
scrambled eggs defense we used to
I
play.
like a box and one, but sometimes the girls forget
They don't
that
know
the
what to
boxes
do.
have 4
You don't
corners.
wanna-
Sometimes
Yeah.
they think it's a circle or a triangle, and you got 4 It's box.
Right. We
Box.
cannot confuse.
This is not a trapezoid. What are we doing here?
So no,
Can I confuse them?
we're gonna have girls chasing other girls around, and then we're gonna have we're gonna have to double team. This one's gonna come down to how well we double team, and if their role players step up and make some big time shots, then we're gonna have to outscore them. Could be tough.
And it's a road game, you said, or no? It's a home game.
This one is a road game.
Yeah,
This one is a road
building,
game.
which
is
It's
tough.
in their place.
Yeah.
And you never know what kind of seats they're going to have in these places. Maybe sometimes they have the folding chairs, and if they have the folding chairs, you might not be able, to get the
Sure.
attention of your girls because
Sure.
they like the folding chairs because they're really squishy and they bounce up and down on them. And then
You could
giggle
just
and they
Bobby
laugh.
Knight one of those things and really fire him up.
Well,
It's much better when we have the bleachers though because they just sit there.
Yeah,
They
they're
don't
not
really have
messing around
anything
with
to
it.
talk about.
And that's true.
Well, the saying is true. You don't just walk into Holy Family and expect to come out with a dub.
No.
It's gonna be tough, that road environment, and when you throw the records out when those teams play,
I'm just hoping the opposing coach at Holy Family doesn't have a John Chaney situation where he's threatening to
Yeah.
kick John's ass
we
after the
we
game.
don't want that. We don't want that. Yeah.
I don't think he wants that smoke either.
And then in front of all the assembled media at that one.
Yeah.
Do you have media availability for those games?
No.
Parents
because,
availability.
well, when everything went down with Coach Mike after one of his the basketball games that he was at, we decided no, we're going to cut this stuff out. Actually, as little cameras as possible. That's the way we try to do things.
Oh, that is fantastic
So-
callback. Fantastic callback
That
right
is.
there, John. Hour number 3, we've knocked the first 2 out of the park. Hour number 3, best yet. Super Bowl odds for your Green Bay Packers. A Coons can't miss. And there was almost some trouble in Arlington City for the Dallas Cowboys with Coach Mike, the aforementioned Big Mac. We'll get you in the latest on that. And they maybe have made their decision. Maybe. Plus, tell us how cool you were with your first car in high school. Brian West Dallas is waiting to do that. He'll do it next on The Game.
drop O's on them. We drop O's on them. Throw them O's. What? We drop O's on them. Drop O's on them. Throw them O's.
Hour 3 and 9 to noon on this beautiful Fat Tuesday. What's going on? Billy Schmidt hanging out. That is, shot at me, but no, it is actually Fat Tuesday, not just because a fat is talking to you alongside John Kuhn and Armin Sarian here on 9 to noon. Fat Tuesday, great celebration, even better. When people bring punchkis into now, am I pronouncing it correctly? Punchkis?
I think it's punchki, but I'm not
Punchki.
Polish.
I mess it up all the time.
Yeah.
The beautiful, delicious donuts with jam in them.
It's a jelly
Some
donut.
good cream filling in the middle sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes a raspberry.
Prune.
Somebody brings prune in, and those generally are the ones sitting there. Not today. John, I just walked into the back to grab a cup of coffee. Now, your boy is 8 days into a diet, not loving it. But I saw the bundle.
They're back there?
The wrapping is back there.
Oh, they're gone.
There's a 24-pack
Oh.
plastic just still sitting there. The last guy that ended up grabbing one was like, I don't want to be the dude that ends up throwing it away.
Right.
So it's just sitting there. It's just sitting there wide open, laughing at all those poor souls that didn't get to it quick enough to be able to grab one of those delicious
Now,
treats on
how's
this
that
fat
possible?
They're in sales.
As I heard Zabe talking, there's nobody in sales there. Nobody in sales.
Well,
is in
Zabe says
they all
that.
work remote.
There are
Yeah.
some there. There are some out there. I bet they're in sales.
Probably
right
not the trusted source on who's in
And
the
there's
building
only
here.
been one talent in already today, and that was Josh. Did
Yeah.
Josh eat 24 punchkis?
I don't think so, but I don't want to
Is
say.
it possible?
No, I think there's more. I think there's more people in the building than Steve knows of, because
Yeah.
I walked by a couple of different salespeople that were walking right back, and I'm like, oh, they're
Oh, and they
coming out
have
of here to go
jelly
to the
just
bathroom.
dribbling off their chin.
Oh, a little.
Oh,
I
hey,
saw
how you
one
doing,
little
Bill?
powdered sugar. What the heck are we
powdered sugar.
doing here?
Well, no, I know.
Come
listen,
on.
You got Dave Michaels. Come on. There's the Dolph was here, obviously.
Dave could eat 6 of them, and
Dave-
you wouldn't even realize.
You wouldn't realize it. You do have probably Andrew was around this morning, right?
Yeah, he probably had 6.
He might have had a couple.
He could have had a couple.
Yeah.
Dolph had 1 or 2, but it's generally what my favorite day of the year, because there are just desserts all over the place before people walk into, like the Packers did, a Lenten promise of not winning a game for 42 days. You'll only go 40 days without one of your favorite treats. But this is a great celebration, even across the country, but in a place that you're very, very fond of, and a place that I just got a Snapchat from one of my college roommates. It doesn't hold a candle partying it up in Louisiana today for a Fat Tuesday.
Yeah, Fat Tuesday Mardi Gras parade is a wild one. Starts bright and early, like 7:30, 8 o'clock. Bang,
Snapchat.
bang, boom.
I get a Snapchat of my buddy just pulling straight from a Crown Royal bottle, Crown Apple at 5:42 time snapped. Like, what are we doing here? AM.
Yeah, boy.
Woke right on up, walked right over to his spot, threw that chair out. He said, I'm sitting my butt right here
Nice.
all day long. No one is bothering me, unless, he maybe gets pushed on out of the way, because there's going to be thousands of people cramming on in there to see every little ounce of that
So
parade.
what are you guys giving up for Lent? What are you doing there, Armin?
It's a good question. It's kind of tough because I have Sunburn Bowl coming up, which means I don't like to give up anything before Sunburn Bowl because, eating and drinking is part of the trip.
So
But
you're not doing anything.
I want to say this. I think I retroactively did it. I haven't had any soda since Christmas, so I'm going to give myself a little credit on that. Way to go, Armin. I have not had one soda.
Did you just move the time?
I did.
That doesn't count.
I make my own rule. Why? I can't retroactively do it.
Armin,
No,
so
this
you
is
make
the
100
IR in the NFL.
If you make 100 free throws in practice, do they count towards your statistics? No, you got to do it in the game.
Well,
you got to do it when it matters.
I think it all matters in this situation. I don't think this is a good example. I think I did do the no soda. It had the positive effect on my body either way.
Well, good job. We're proud of you.
And it was-
Congratulations
thank you
for
very
all that
much.
hard work you put in. But
Appreciate that.
Now it's time to put the money where the mouth is and
Well-
actually give something up.
Well, I'll start after I come back from Sunburn Bowl. Something else. How about that? What do you want
That
me to?
doesn't count. Lent
That's not
starts
it.
tomorrow.
Fine, I'll give up shellfish. How's that?
You don't eat fish. Like me.
I eat some
That's fine.
fish. I eat some fish, but not
Okay.
shellfish.
Just
All
not
right.
shellfish, because
All
you're
right,
allergic.
Not allergic.
I'm
No,
not giving anything up.
allergic.
But I'm gonna walk 3 miles a day throughout Lent. That's my Lenten promise.
3 miles every day.
Every
for
day.
40 days.
For 40 days.
Sometimes that's the best way to do it. Instead of giving something up, you add something to the repertoire.
Yeah.
Armin, could you add something to the repertoire?
I probably could add a little bit more of push-ups daily, a little more weightlifting. I mean, I do my cardio. You see me on the treadmill.
So what are you going to do?
Oh, yeah.
Billy's going to do 3 miles a day. What are you doing?
I'll do push-ups. I'll do
100?
100 a day.
Yeah.
His face.
100
It's
a
a
day.
day. You got 24 hours to do 100 push-ups.
I'll definitely do 50 a day. 50.
100. Come on, let's do something for real.
Well,
You could do that at Sunburn Bowl, no problem. You'd be jacked going on that morning show.
that's
Heller
true.
will be
I would
asking
jacked.
you what your routine is.
Or I could continue to not drink soda, I guess. I mean,
Could you imagine going to Sunburn Bowl
Oh,
after doing
man.
100 push-ups in the morning, going down to that radio show, Heller talking about your physique? Josh will be so jealous. He'll be pissed.
You would be
that's
salty.
yeah, well, that's true. But
He'd make
that's-
you post 5 more videos after that.
You don't think I've already been doing a winter bulk to get ready for Sunburn Bowl, John? A winter bulk, you know what I'm saying? Is that what
And
they
you
call it?
can't
Oh, it's
add
bulking
100
season.
You can't add 100 push-ups a day to that?
100 seemed like a lot, but if it's a day,
10 sets of
could
10.
do 20, 25, 10 sets of 10, or 2 sets of 25, or 5 sets of 20, right?
No, it'd be
Did you
4
say
sets of
2
20.
sets of 25?
4 sets of 20.
Yeah.
I meant to say
He's still trying to get to 50.
I
trying
meant
to
to
get to
say
50.
in the morning and at night. So 2 sets of 25 in the morning and at night. You know, but 100, let's say 50. I'm gonna hedge my bets, and then maybe I'll do 100 and I'll go above and beyond. I under promise, over deliver.
Maybe you'll do 20,
promise
and
I'll
we'll be proud of it. Where are we going at up there, John? What are we giving
You got
up
any
adding something?
suggestions? I don't know to give
Oh.
up or add anything. I
Oh,
mean, I don't know.
you wanted me to do it. Now you're not gonna do
Well,
one.
yeah. What should I do? What do you want?
I don't know. I
Throw something out there. I threw the push-ups out for you.
No sugar at all. Could you do that? Let's see
You
that.
want me to cut, and you're adding. You won't.
You
cut.
want me to do
want
100
cut.
push-ups?
I-
That's above and beyond for me.
You
So if
said
you ask me to
add.
do it,
Yeah, because what's 50 push-ups doing for you?
what's no
100.
sugar? What's no sugar? I don't know what I mean. Okay, do you drink your coffee with anything in it? How about black coffee only?
That's super.
I'm
easy.
on that right
Do
now.
we want
It's
to
not
do that?
great.
Do we
Well,
even
no.
wanna
If
try
it's
that?
you just
incredibly
you told
easy.
on
There
yourself,
isn't-
then I'm
isn't
not
this-
letting you do it if it's
Yeah,
easy.
exactly.
Well, then
Armin's fishing for his bet here.
I'll do
Okay.
100
This is
push-ups.
kind of
You
like
know,
what you wanted to do with
I'll
push.
do
You wanna
100
see where you
push-ups a
wanna
day
go.
with you.
I can do 100. That's fine. I think we can do 100. I'll start with 50 and feel good about myself, and then How about this?
that's
You're
not the way
already
it
building.
works.
You're already
to
building
100.
in an excuse.
I can transition
That's
to
not the
100.
way it works. You gotta start at 100. You gotta do 100 every day. Think about what you're gonna look like at the end of 4,000 push-ups.
No, it definitely that's the winter bulk. I mean, that will definitely get me, jacked and rocked and cut, right? Isn't that so? I'll be excited about that. All right, maybe I can do that. That seems like something I could do. I don't know, but I don't really
100
believe in
push-ups
adding
is
during
nothing.
Lent
You could
though.
easily do that.
Yeah, I think spread out over a day I could too.
I firmly believe. Like
Yeah.
like one person said, a set of 98, and then you only got to do 2 more.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Right?
You
Just
could
rep
do-
out 98 of them, and you'll be fine at that point.
No one can do 98 in a row, right? Am I wrong?
Well, as Scott
What
the
are the other-
Builder adds, Armin, you could really do 4 push-ups 25 times a day.
I love that.
Oh, that's fair.
I like
Yeah.
like a power hour, like take a shot of beer every minute. Do you ever do one of those?
a few.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Billy, you have done some
Yeah,
of
a
those.
few.
Did
Yeah.
you ever?
It seems
Yeah.
so easy, right? At first, a shot of beer, no problem. Give it to me. Boom.
No, see, the shot of beer was not the issue for me. The issue for me was when I said,
I
well,
want
that's
more.
not
I
enough.
want
So I
more.
would just take one big gulp every minute. That went from like 6 beers to 10 beers in the hour. And that's when it became a little bit more of an issue.
Before I forget, Brian Westall's been waiting to tell us about his
About his Lenten promise?
no about his first
Oh,
car.
sorry.
but
Okay.
maybe-
First call.
Yeah,
First car.
I know
First
it's
car.
a little bit out of context now, but I think we
Brian's
should
in
do it.
West Dallas. He's been waiting at 414-799-1973 to jump on 9 to noon. He's here. Brian, what's on your mind, man? Thanks for holding.
Hey, man, I got the tease before the break. It's like I've been in the green room. This is great.
No
Hey,
problem, buddy.
You're talking about your first car. My first car was a really bad machine. It was a 76 Cutlass. It was rustier than any car that I've ever had, but it was a monster. It would beat everything off the line outside of Corvettes and Porsches. But, I mean, it was just a monstrous car. So one day, my friend and I were driving down Silver Spring, and we're racing because we're young and we're stupid. And we drove past the District 4 police station doing about 80 miles an hour.
That's smart.
There's lights behind me in the mirror. So I pull over. I'm being pulled over for it. the cop comes up to the car and he says to me, he goes, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" I said, "Because I was racing." He said, "No, because you won."
That's pretty funny. That's pretty good. I like that.
That's a good one, Brian. Appreciate it, man. That is, we do not advocate for that. We do not advocate anybody go and do that.
Safe and
Safe and responsibly. But that is a good story. And generally, there is going to be a little bit of a punishment once they never catch the first guy, right? They always catch the last guy. That's a little bit. That's on the other side of it. That's the complete opposite. They went and found the first guy. Let the last guy. Hey, man. You already caught a fat L. You're okay. It's almost like in Horrible Bosses when he goes, "What are you doing?" It's drag racing. In a Prius? I don't win a lot. I don't win a lot.
Yeah, you can still race. You just don't win. Right. Exactly.
You know who wins a lot? Especially when we go to the investment window? This guy, John Kuhn. It's just too good. It's just too good.
And we will be speaking with Justin Arnett from the Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook tomorrow.
Can't wait.
And we'll get to Bart.
Yeah,
Bart.
Trying to my best, Bart Scott.
And we will finally get to ask him, Armin, when is the date set for the ribbon cutting? When are we actually cutting the ribbon on this new sportsbook? Because, hey, the temporary one is great. The old Fire Pit Sports Bar and Grill. 30 screens, full bar with food and beverage service, and plenty of seating. But we want more. We want bigger screens. We want more food and beverage service. We want more seating. And we're going to have just that in the new sports book. Over 400 people will be able to fit their way into this new sports book, standing or seating. There's going to be a lot of sitting room. Some will be standing room. And then you got a poker room. You got a studio up top that people can do shows from. Who's going to do any of those? I don't know. But we're going to have a lot of fun at this thing. It's going to be absolutely incredible. And we'll talk to Justin about all the new things coming to Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook tomorrow. All right. Yesterday, Bucks Nuggets. We talked about this game a little bit. The under is what I picked, under 231.5. That one was easy. Not even any sweating involved.
No.
That was a win. 207 was the total points scored in that one. And, I'm trying to look for winners here. Winners and winners only.
That's the right way
and
to go.
I like the first quarter of tonight's Bucks Heat matchup, and I like the Bucks being up by more than 2.5 at the end of this first quarter.
Oh,
it's an easy bet. It's a first quarter bet. The Bucks come out hot in the first quarter at home. This one is the one that they're going to do it yet again against the Heat. Bucks minus 2.5 is the can't miss. Just first quarter. Just the first quarter. Bucks minus 2.5 in this one. That is my can't miss for today.
I love it. First quarter investment yesterday was at an even money. And it was a sweater for us sitting in 110 because they were up 15 and then all of a sudden down 4. And you're like, wait a second, what the heck just happened here?
You must have been feeling good.
What the heck just happened here?
Right.
414-799-1973. If you were in that same situation, probably weren't because you're a smarter individual than that one.
I wonder really quick, guys. I wonder if that's my one more thing.
One thing brought to you by
this is Armin's One Thing brought to you by onething.com. If you need one thing and one thing only, Armin Sarian's your man at onething.com.
You know how overs most of the year for the Bucks have been smashing. They've just been hitting a lot of overs. But you notice with Doc and the defensive last couple games, the defenses have changed. The defense is better. But before Vegas catches up, will the unders start to hit now for the Bucks? Will those lines stay high? But will the but think about it, because you got Doc now. The defensive mindset has changed. Maybe with Pat Beverly, maybe the under is the efficient play now for the Bucks.
I'd be interested what Pat Beverly specials and props come on up, because my man left last night after the game, and I can find myself on some Barstool Sports pages every once in a while, and they were doing a competition where they had to make 41 consecutive free throws as a group.
Wow.
And they hadn't done it on the live stream for 11 hours. So Pat Beverly came on down there. You're like, okay, he's going to knock down some free throws, help the boys on out. Nope. He sat there and ate the Golden Arches for a few hours and then just talked nonsense to them. From the couch, said, you can't make 10. You can't make your 10. You better quit at 6. It was fantastic theater as they thought, all right, sweet. Our savior is on the way. Instead, he maybe became their nemesis, and they're like, "How about you get out of here and stop bringing the vibes down a little bit, guy? Come on."
So there's no offerings for Pat Beverly, but that would be a good one. Maybe throughout the day, I'll watch that. Maybe they'll put something up. They'll post a line for Pat Beverly. If we knew where he was last night, eating McDonald's and everything like that.
Well,
right?
driving to Chicago to laugh at those guys.
That's his home, though.
Ill fortunes.
Yeah.
41 free throws in a row, though, for some amateurs is not an easy feat. That was probably a lot of fun for Pat Beverly to sit there.
People don't realize
they took over 7,000 shots in almost 16 hours of this live stream.
Gosh, I mean, the pressure at the end.
How long would it take the three of us to make 41 free throws?
Great question.
Over under 16 hours? Probably over.
Over. I mean, I can hit free throws if I get into a groove, but 41 in a row, plus we're switching off, plus the pressure.
I think their rule was you could only make 10 and then you had to hand it off to somebody else. So like, cause it was the 41 is the team record, I believe, in the NBA for a single game. So they tried to see how long it would take them and draft certain guys. And ultimately Portnoy was the one that knocks it on in.
And that rattled all the way around.
Touched every bit of that iron.
All the way around, but
you want to talk about a sweat while that thing's hanging up right there on the front of the rim and drops down. Woo! Thank goodness for that. Also, quickly before we get on out of the Potawatomi Sportsbook, fellas, the odds have come out. We talked a little bit yesterday about the MVP odds for the Green Bay Packers quarterback, Jordan Love, who was on Dan Patrick's show, was on Kay Adams' show last week, was making the rounds over at Super Bowl. Packers come in just out of the top 25% of odds to win the Super Bowl at Potawatomi, but inside the top 10, 20-1, just behind the Eagles, Cowboys, Lions, and Niners in the NFC. Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, and Ravens. The AFC teams favored just above the Packers at 20-1 to hoist the Lombardi Trophy in Super Bowl 59, which we have seen the renderings. We have seen the logo for it down there in New Orleans. That's how you tie this whole bad boy together. Well, they will move Mardi Gras, or it will be at a different time here coming up next year, right, John? Or are we sitting here with a potential crossover of Radio Row and Mardi Gras?
It all goes off of the moon. It's the first moon phase of the year, right? That's how Ash Wednesday and Fat Tuesday are all decided. Am I wrong here? I believe that's how Easter and everything else is decided.
Yeah, that's my astrology information kind of ends at the word. That's about all I know.
It's the first Sunday after the full moon that occurs on or after the spring
equinox. That's there. Yeah, absolutely. How about that? You're right, John. I did not realize that.
It's all based off the moon, baby.
I should have known that.
Well, that's fantastic.
I should have known that. I should have known that.
Well, we're going to have to eye that on up there to make sure that we end up finding out.
March 4th. So we're good.
Okay, so we'll be clear. So we'll have 2 trips to New Orleans next year. Sounds good. Mardi Gras and Radio Row.
Just do it for about a month.
That's the decision maker on the program right there. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm honest here. I think the Super Bowl and the NFL think this whole thing out. Like when they pick New Orleans as the city, they're probably like, all right, what year is Fat Tuesday the second week in February? Because that's when we're not doing it.
That's what we're going to do the year after. Tie this up now and go from there and work off of that. 414-799-1973. It'll be a great time in New Orleans next year. No doubt about it. Hopefully the Packers are there celebrating that one with all of us and maybe breaking some more telecast records that Super Bowl 58 did. Could there be a reason why the spike of over 8 million average viewers could be something that nobody wants to hear about? We'll play it for you next, 9 to noon on The Game.
All of the lights.
Turn up the lights in here, baby. Extra bright, I want y'all to see this. Turn up the lights in here, baby. You know what I need. Want you to see everything. Want you to see all of the lights.
It's 9 to noon on the game. Shockingly, I got caught up by the kiosk here at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, just like poking through and looking around here.
Shockingly.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not going to give I saw a suggestion. Oh yeah, you're not going to give up gambling for 40 days.
Some guy said Billy needs to give up gambling for Lent, 40 days without it. So, dude, my kid needs diapers and food.
Yeah,
like,
it's
I
about
can't just
sustenance.
quit my second job. I need to keep going
Yeah,
here.
this is about sustenance. It's
Yeah,
about
that-
caring
so
for your family.
That might have been a poor idea for Billy Muscles. A good idea to say we should just give up football for 40 days.
That's true. I could do that.
Wait, when does the UFL? When does the UFL start?
That's what I was going to say.
But the problem with that is combine talk, is draft talk. Is that giving up
Right.
football?
I'm going to the combine. That's kind of hard to give up football then. That I would be kind of a lost cause at that help right there.
Does that mean you can't watch NFL Network at all? What I can't watch old games on YouTube at all?
That's what I mean.
Well, no.
How many old games will you watch in the next 40 days on YouTube of the NFL?
I love watching old football content because, this is like the dead time of the year, but there's always some old stuff. This is the time to do it. Yeah, old games or NFL film stuff. I love watching
This is
NFL
good
film.
NFL films time.
I love
Yeah,
watching
that's
old
sure.
stuff. It just comes up on YouTube. I can't help it. It's like
You can't help it.
NFL greatest games. 1992 Oilers Bills comeback. Oh, click. I guess so. I'm washing the dishes. I'll
Okay.
click on it.
Well, here we need a ruling. If indeed I was to give up football for Lent, the UFL starts on March 30th.
Catch the fever.
Easter Sunday is March 31st. If I go to the Easter Vigil on Saturday night, though, then my Lenten promise is over, right? Then I can go and watch the game on Saturday night.
Yeah, in theory you could.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure. I might be giving up football for Lent. Might be. Probably not.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to stick with my walking deal. But as I was poking around here on the kiosk, looking at some other futures, so they're just giving Aaron Rodgers the Comeback Player of the Year award next year, right? Like, I mean, just thinking about it, he's looking like the same kind of favorite that DeMar Hamlin was all year long, and then my man gets it absolutely snatched away from him by couch potato Joe Flacco, who comes in and starts balling for the Cleveland Browns. If anybody's putting their mortgage here on Aaron Rodgers winning Comeback Player of the Year, I would just calm down. Just take maybe one step back because you guys probably talked about this a lot on Friday. I didn't think anybody was going to be able to beat DeMar Hamlin for it.
Yeah.
And he was sitting there just enjoying his conversation with Colleen Wolfe pregame and said, no, this is my event for the night. That's the only speech I'm giving, apparently.
Well, who else was available for Comeback Player of the Year? This was kind of a weird year, right? And
Baker was up for it. Yep.
I honestly,
He got robbed,
That's
actually.
what that Baker should have got.
Baker got robbed.
Because if
Actually,
you think about the NFL Comeback Player of the Year, that award goes to someone who overcomes adversity to return to remarkable performance. That's the definition.
I like that. Yes.
Adversity to return to remarkable performance. I understand what DeMar Hamlin came back from, but he did not return to remarkable performance.
They would have gotten that, fake punt conversion in the
Now,
divisional round.
that's the
Maybe we
thing.
would have been
Had
talking about
he
remarkable
done
performance.
That potentially. And some would say he didn't come back from the heart either. It was the people that saved him. They brought him back.
well,
Some would say he should have won Comeback Player of the Year last year.
Yeah.
Because that was when he came back.
but he had the
from
most. He had the most. What was the first part of that award?
Overcome adversity.
No one's overcome more adversity in any time of this award than DeMar Hamlin, right? No one was that close. I'm sorry. There's nobody. It's not the same as an injury. I mean, nobody has. So you have to weigh that as well.
Okay, but he overcame the adversity, but then it's not done there. It's to return to remarkable performance.
I think remarkable is a word that can be defined different ways. I think the fact that he was there was remarkable. I think it was crazy he didn't
So
get the award.
so you think he got jobbed?
So you think he got ripped off?
And not only that, if it's anyone else besides him, then it should have been Baker. over Flacco, I would have definitely
Well,
voted for him.
Flacco was texting teams from the couch saying, "Hey, bring me in. I need to do this." And
He said,
what
no thanks,
Flacco-
bud.
What Flacco did was pretty good. It was better than
yeah.
DeMar.
Oh, he
but
deserves
I don't know
praise.
if it was technically remarkable. Baker's, he completely turned his career around.
Yeah, and that's where I don't know about you guys. I was pretty impressed by the voters for not giving it to DeMar. Like as much as I please, I do not want this to be that I'm bashing DeMar Hamlin for coming back from cardiac arrest on the field.
Right.
Well, Armin will let you know if you do.
Yeah, I will.
But I mean, was the remarkable performance suiting up for 5 games? Like that's pretty. Is that remarkable? Sure. Is it throwing 30 touchdowns when you got cut from 2 teams and basically had one team say, this dude's no good, we can't have him in the building because he's such a cancer? Go and win a game in 5 days with the LA Rams, and then you're the Pro Bowl MVP. Like, I mean, I was pretty impressed that those voters had, you want to talk about some courage, that can be a public vote if you want it to become one and put it on out there. I was kind of surprised, John, that many people ended up voting not for DeMar Hamlin because of the potential backlash they would have gotten for it.
But were they right? They were right here. They were right here.
Yeah, they were.
Unfortunately, I hate to say it,
yes.
but they were right here. DeMar Hamlin did not come back to return to remarkable performance. He just simply came back, Armin. It's
I know your
comeback
point.
player of the year. I mean, it's a great comeback, but it's not comeback player of the year.
It's like when
worthy in this one.
like Eric Berry when he got it. He was the safety for the Chiefs.
For the Chiefs, yes.
He had cancer, right? And he came back, and he's a really good player.
Pretty sure he was in the Pro Bowl.
So obviously that's the difference. So I get your point. That's true. Now DeMar Hamlin was not really. He was a fringe player as it was, right? So you have to kind of judge it by his potential as a player as well.
Yeah.
But I still think this was a special and unique case.
Okay, but let's be honest though.
You're
Well,
right.
so now who's giving out participation trophies if this is a special?
Well, this was the ultimate. Would have been the ultimate of participation trophy if you want to say it that way. But this is
because he simply participated.
Well, I think this was the unique time and the exception to the rule where simply participating is remarkable and extraordinary. I think that's the point I would make there. Now, I get your point that if we're going by the letter of the rule and the true virtue of the rule, then you're probably right. They were hardlining it and not giving it to him was, I could see it being impressive. Like they didn't just go with the popular, because no one's going to blame you for voting for DeMar.
Not at all.
No one's going to come at you. No one's going to clown you, make you go viral.
If you gave comeback player of the year to the people that performed CPR on him, I would understand that more. Because that's a remarkable performance. They performed remarkably.
Well, yeah. Now, were these votes? I have another question. Were the votes public that people were made?
Well, I think
does it matter?
It does, because we've talked about this in the past about Hall of Fame voting, and I think the entire reason a lot of these guys vote for who they vote for now is because they want the public perception to not come after them on social media. I believe that 100%. That's why I think the vote should be public. Do you think that if they weren't public?
Well, no, because then that's the public deciding, Armin.
Exactly. I don't want that public to decide. I want the like situations like this.
Well,
where
you're making the argument against yourself.
No,
if the public was deciding, don't you think it would have been DeMar Hamlin? If Billy's surprised that the voters had the courage not to do it, they have to have the courage from something. The courage is away from the public perception.
Well, yeah, but it's easier to have the courage when you know you're not going to get, no one's going to come at you on social media and make you go viral.
But you just said, oh, hold on. Can I just get this straight?
Okay, go ahead.
You said you don't want the public opinion deciding it.
Yes, I agree.
But yet you want the votes to be public because you don't want.
No, I don't want them to be public. I don't. I don't believe in that.
Now you don't. Now you don't.
That's what I meant to say. If I misspoke, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did, but I do know you're firmly in that camp because you don't want people getting bullied for throwing out BS votes.
Right. So in that sense, I'm
just being blatantly wrong.
Is Aaron Rodgers going to bully his way to a comeback player of the year?
He tried to, I think, this year. If he would have came back. You want to tell me those last 3 McAfee appearances wouldn't have been telling everybody about, maybe
that would have been his campaign trail.
That probably would have been, yes.
But he's got a tough fight next year. He's got Kirk
tough.
Cousins coming back with the exact same injury
Fair.
on a shorter timeline. He's got Joe Burrow, who's already won the damn thing once. He's going to be coming back from a season-ending injury. There's a boatload of players this year, especially quarterbacks, with all the quarterbacks we saw this year.
And Burrow is And Burrow, John, is like second or third best odds to win the MVP. So, like, could you win the MVP and comeback player of the year in the same year?
I think you should be allowed to. I don't think they will allow it.
That's fair.
It's
Yeah.
probably like MVP and offensive player of the year. They probably won't give both.
So I'm trying to dig this in. So Rob Mady is the head AP NFL writer. He was the one that was tweeting out the voting results after each award was announced on Thursday night and saying like what all the breakdowns were. They're not all public, although he does throw an absolute stray at this one cat when he reads off the MVP voting, right? Because Lamar Jackson got 49 out of 50 first place votes and 1 third place vote. Lamar Jackson received 49 first place votes and 1 third place votes from @A Schultz NFL. Aaron voted Josh Allen first and Dak Prescott second. Just pumped out his ballot right on out there.
There you go. Yeah. Now, was that his choice to do it? Because I know Drew always does that with this Hall of Fame vote. Like Drew makes his public just to get discussion like about it because he doesn't mind. I'm not sure if it's a requirement though or not.
I mean, I'll have to dig through this cat's Twitter page to see if he put out his votes. But I mean, even so, even if you do, even if you don't, just throwing that right there after as the only cat to do it. That's interesting.
Wasn't it Lamar Jackson is the only one to have a unanimous MVP vote?
Yes. And he's got 99 of 100. Yep.
He's got 99 of 100 potential votes and 2 MVPs.
I'm telling you. And this was the ultimate year where anyone could have won MVP. This was not a runaway year for anybody, in my opinion. I think consensus kind of gathers around one guy.
You definitely think DeMar Hamlin should have got this as an exception because the field was not as strong as it's been in the past.
I mean for MVP. I meant for Lamar winning MVP. But if I voted, I would have voted DeMar. That's not to take anything away from Baker or Joe Flacco. Who
Armin, I repeat, overcomes adversity to return to remarkable performance. You're forgetting the return to remarkable performance side of this.
I get it. And maybe I'm just soft. I don't know. Call me a softie. Maybe I'm emotional about it.
We
but
know that. You're trying to shy away from 100 push-ups, of course.
Yeah, right. But after that night and the scariness of it, I just think I would have. Now, maybe that would have been wrong. Maybe I would have let my heart and not my head decide the vote. But
you wouldn't have been alone, though, because there were, counting up, 6 guys to receive first place votes. DeMar Hamlin by far got the most first place votes.
So and you said one was second place Flacco, right? That's how that works.
Second, he had 26 second place votes to just edge him out. Joe Flacco, DeMar Hamlin, Baker Mayfield, Matthew Stafford, Tua Tagovailoa, the others to receive a first place vote, along with this individual. Can you guess him? Quarterback.
Tell me who was there. Oh, Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy got 1 first place vote. He ended up with 6 points here.
So his was the remarkable performance side of things.
Yeah, and he had an injury. All right, guys, 2 Packers of all time have won this award.
Jordy Nelson.
Jordy in 16.
Mm-hmm.
And this was when it was given away by the PFWA, not the AP. But it's still a comeback player of the year award. It was 1997, Robert Brooks. He had the ACL in the Super Bowl year, if you remember.
Yes.
So came back to have a great year the next year.
Also, one guy gave a second place vote to Calvin Ridley. Just wanted to throw that.
He had to come back from something.
Had to come back from that.
That was adverse.
I think he wanted to make a statement with that, don't you?
Putting it 4 and 18 parlays in. That's adversity.
Hey,
you got to gamble a little bit better, Calvin. We got to figure out how we're gambling here and making some money. It's 9 to noon. We'll wrap things up next. Hand it off to Mike Keller in 20 minutes. 9 to noon on the game.
I know I said I wouldn't miss you.
Feeling my way through the darkness, guided by a beating heart.
It's 9 to noon on the game. Now, this is the Aloe Black Avicii song. Did you guys see Darius Rucker and Tua Tagovailoa strumming the 6-string playing?
Gangster.
What was Tua hiding behind them sunglasses? My man was feeling himself there in Las Vegas.
You know, listen, maybe he had some kava juice. You don't know. When in Vegas, have a blast. And you know, I've gone down that path before with those guys and had a good time. And that's, you know, what you do. You're in Vegas, you have yourself a damn good time. You get behind a guitar, put some sunglasses on if you need to, and start strumming away.
He was having the time of his life. Darius Rucker may have been having more fun as a long-suffering Miami Dolphins fan. And then the camera just pans on over. Here's Daniel Jones, just in a hat, singing along, just looking like the tall guy in the bar. I'm like, wait a second. Why do they keep showing this guy?
I know.
Oh, quarterback of the Giants. Got it.
Yeah, and I was just kind of curious. Did like he and Tua go together? Were
It's a
they
good question.
hanging
Yeah.
out? Was that the group? Like Tua and Daniel Jones saw each other on Radio Row. Hey, what are you doing tonight? I ain't got people here. I play for the Giants.
Yeah, no one really
Tua's
wants me
probably
here.
like, well, I got Tyreek Hill and some other guys.
They just became friends.
They're going clubbing, and I ain't going
I'm
clubbing.
not trying to do all that.
You want to come play the guitar with me? Well, I can't play the guitar, but I don't have anybody else here.
I don't got nothing to
I'm
do.
from the Giants. I'm the only one at the Super Bowl.
Let me get your number.
So,
I'll hang out.
Yeah, let's hang out together. All right, dude, bro, this sounds like a plan. Bro, cool. And then they all roll to this Darius Rucker concert together, and it wasn't really a concert. It was just like an on-stage act there in Vegas, correct?
Yeah, it just looked like an
at a
on
bar.
stage at a bar. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked awesome. That's the type of stuff I'm into. You walk into
Oh, yeah.
a bar, you think you're just getting into a party, and then all of a sudden Darius Rucker's on the stage strumming away. That is cool. I met Darius Rucker a couple times. Awesome.
He seems like a awesome guy.
He is cool. Really cool.
Do you call him
Dolphins
Darius
fan.
or Hootie?
Good question.
Well, I was with TJ, so obviously he was Hootie to TJ, so we
Oh,
called him Hootie. But no, he was great. He was a great dude, and that's the cool stuff that we saw from the Super Bowl that I think makes Vegas. Billy, I'm with you. It has to be in a regular rotation.
Oh, big time.
Right there with New Orleans, right there with Miami. This has got to be in the regular rotation. This thing looked incredible, and I'm probably going to go to the next one because it looks fun.
And John, I've been in Vegas when the Super Bowl is not there, and it's it's my favorite place to watch the Super Bowl. And Tim Allen and I vowed that we were not going to be there when the Super Bowl was there because it's going to be terrible. It's going to be so busy. It's going to be crazy. And all I had was FOMO all week long for not being there. There's something about it. Doesn't necessarily matter about how much of the party helps. It doesn't necessarily matter about how many different places to go. It helps to have a great volume of places to go. I still believe the most important part of it's got to be centrally located.
Yeah.
It's got to be tight. You guys had to have bust 45 minutes to an hour to the Arlington Super Bowl in 45, or it was just all of us staying in Dallas or Fort Worth that were driving an hour. And then in LA last year, they're driving 30, 40 minutes, double that up, triple it with traffic out to Inglewood. Like when it's all in one square mile and a half
where everyone can gather,
it's going to be great.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why Indianapolis was even good when they
Makes
had a
sense.
fantastic day and it was like 60 degrees, which was
Walking room. Anytime you have a place that you can just walk everywhere. Same thing with Phoenix because they do Phoenix a lot, and that stadium's so far outside
out.
of the
Yes.
city, and you got people staying all over the place. Most people go to Scottsdale, but they don't stay in Scottsdale, so that's kind of a mess as well. I'm with you, man. New Orleans is cool. So you can walk just about everywhere. Vegas is cool. You can walk just about everywhere. Miami, just stay in South Beach. You can walk just about anywhere you want. Really cool spots. But to me, that's what the Super Bowl is about. It's about that spectacle, that makeup of something bigger than just that one game.
Well, and it's got to be easier to get players there, current and former. Like,
good point.
Be honest with you, from what I saw on Radio Row, way better guests and way better dudes walking around than there have been in years past.
In Minnesota, you know.
Yeah, not that many good guys showing on up to the Mall of America to go and enjoy some interviews. Our takeaways of the day brought to you by Quick Trip. Need something for dinner tonight? Do not cook. It's Fat Tuesday. Go and celebrate with Quick Trip. Delicious take-home meal, always fresh, never frozen. You might even find
Spaghetti, chicken Alfredo, potatoes, salad. He likes to stick to what he knows.
what I know on Fat Tuesday is 2 boxes of Glazers. That's what you should be grabbing.
Let's go.
They're from Quick Trip. Armin, take of the day. Where are we heading here with a good one?
Well, Ken the Fall has been texting and telling us to come to Stenny's for the last hour and a half. We're working here, Ken. I understand you're having a great day and a great time at Stenny's eating cornbread.
Wants to hang out with his
eating
boy.
lunch and having beer. I appreciate that. But
Well, you're off now. You're going to go hang out with him?
I got work to do. All right.
Maybe
Maybe
he's got 100 push-ups to get ready.
maybe sometime this week. I think Dive Bar Week is my week, so maybe at some point I will.
Okay.
run into him.
Okay.
Can't really avoid Ken when it comes to dive bar, so just what it
Yeah,
is.
because you keep texting him as to where to go.
Okay, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Great work here today, boys. Armin, that was fantastic. That was fantastic stuff.
No, absolutely.
For John Kuhn, great work. We're going to do it again tomorrow and get on over the hump. I'm Billy Schmidt. It's been 9 to noon. We'll try to be better tomorrow. Mike Heller Show's next on the game.
Said I shot a man named Green, took his wife to Italy. She had earned $1 million, and when she died, came to me, I can't help but if I'm lucky.